welcome back to the channel, guys. We have our Arthurian Legends set review. We're going to go card by card through all the Ordinaries and Exceptionals today. I'm joined by Nick from Brussels, 4,000 miles away. So thanks for being here, Nick. First things first.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. First things first, I'm just going to go through the grading scale. So we have A through F grading scale, and we have a build-around grade. So A's are going to be bombs, best cards in the set. They win games. They're always good, especially when behind. And then we have B's. They pull you into an element. They're headliners of the set or their element. They are solid removal spells, and some of the best Ordinaries will get into the B range, or like most of the, I guess like the good Exceptionals are going to be in the B range a lot of the time. C's are the pawns of your deck. You're just going to have a bunch of them in your deck. You're going to play them a lot. They're pretty interchangeable. You're not unhappy to play them, but you're not really excited to play them. And then we have D's, which you're not really happy to play, but sometimes if you just missed on playables, basically, you're going to have to put some D's in your deck. And then we have F's, which are cards that are basically unplayable. You should pretty much just never put them in your deck. And then we have a side grade, which is a build around. So I don't think any cards are like strictly build arounds in this set, but we have a build around grade. So I'll probably give like the main grade for a card, and then we'll have like a modifier grade. Like if you build around it and you have this combo with it, then it gets a different grade, and that'll be our build around grade. And then the other caveat I just want to give is that because we've already played with the set a lot, we're not just rating these cards like in a vacuum necessarily, because we kind of know what's good and what isn't. And for those purposes, we decided we are not going to be like docking Earth cards just because they're in Earth. Earth is the worst element, but we're still going to grade them basically as if you already know that you're in that element. What cards should you be picking, and what grade do they get? Is that all fair?
Sure. Perhaps I have one question before we start to set the context a bit, because we talk so much about limited. And do we view these cards through the lens of limited play or constructed play?
Yeah, we're only going to be talking about limited. I think like when I was doing my grades, I just thought about like 3 packs of Arthurian Legends, but I don't think the grades really change all that much when you add 1 pack of beta, like a lot of people do. So yeah.
No, it's true. I was just wondering, like a build around, like it's often in constructed that you can build something around. In draft, it's not impossible, but still, it makes it a bit more difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so excited about this set review. So
yeah, I don't no idea how long this is going to be, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll be long. Okay, so we're going to start at Earth. So I'm ordering from cost lowest to highest, and we're going element by element. So we're starting with Earth. Frisky Red Squirrel is the first card. It's 1 mana, 1 Earth threshold for a 1 power minion. It's an exceptional beast, and it has Genesis. Take target nearby artifact that can be carried and hide it beneath this site. So I gave this card a D, and I'm also wondering why this card does not have burrowing, so you can retrieve the artifact that you buried. It's got amazing flavor, but it's a 1 power minion, and like you can bury a lance most of the time with this, and that's like not really worth a card. Obviously you can bury like a sword and shield is the other card that you're going to see most often on the battlefield. So it can be good obviously in those situations, but like 95% of the time it's just going to be a 1 mana 1 power minion that maybe burrows a lance, and that's just not a good card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me it's a straight F. I would never ever play these cards. It's very situational. It can be game winning if your opponent suddenly has a Pendragon Banner or Ring of Morgan in his limited deck. I never play these cards.
Yep, no arguments there. Next card is Grain Sparrow, 1 mana, 1 Earth threshold, 1 power minion. It's an ordinary beast. It has Airborne, and it has Genesis, gain 2 life. I also put this at D. It's a 1 power minion. It has Airborne, but that doesn't really matter that much. I don't know. You're just not going to want to play this card.
Yeah, it's same for me. I think I give it an F because I will never ever play I think you are on D on that, but say it is better than the Frisky Red Squirrel because of the airborne. At least it can block diagonally. So basically, this is a blocker. This is you want to gain time, but in limited, that is like timing is everything, and I rather have just a good minion instead.
Yeah, I guess when I say D, I mean like I can imagine a world where I have to put this in my deck and I'm really unhappy about it, but like it at least does something. I don't know. It's like a D minus, but I'm not going to argue if you just say F on these cards that you're just never putting in a deck. Yeah. It's totally fine. Knighthood is a straight F. So this is 1 mana, 1 earth threshold for a magic. It's exceptional. Thank God it's not ordinary. If you control an ordinary mortal, you may summon a knight, sir, or dame from your hand to their location. Yeah, you basically just can't play this card. I don't know. I mean, there's tons of ordinary mortals. There are a bunch of sirs, knights, and dames, but spending a card to like get a mana discount and you're like 2-for-1ing yourself to put it into play, like how early do you have to be cheating something out for this card to actually be good? And how reliable does it have to be to actually do that?
Yeah, as we talked in the other review, it's like the game starts at turn 2 or turn 3 when you're connected. So what else? I mean, yes, you can have King Arthur. Is that okay? Knight, sir? No, not King Arthur, but like the Green Knight on turn 1, which is potentially very good. But still, it does not have its original effect either way, so no, F. Although I always have this hope for this card, like, can it really be good? Like, I mean, the look on the opponent's face is so funny, but I would not risk it.
Yeah, I have this in my cube, and no one's played it, but at some point, Knighthood's going to be good in cube. I just hope it is.
Yes.
But yeah, don't play it in Arthurian Legends. Squeakers is the next card. Squeakers is 1 mana, 1 earth threshold for a 1 power minion. It's an ordinary beast, and it has Death Right. Reveal your next 5 spells, then summon all pigs of the Sounder from among them to this site. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So if you don't know, it's Squeakers, Pigs of the Sounder, plus Grand Old Boar. Pigs of the Sounder is an exceptional, Grand Old Boar is a elite, and we'll get to those other cards eventually, but Pigs of the Sounder is basically just a 3 mana, 3 power minion with the same text, and it gets Grand Old Boar, which is a 5 mana, 5 power minion that has charge if you have a dead Squeakers. I gave this card a D minus. Basically, I don't think I've ever played one. I do have a build around grade for it. The first one, it's a D plus. And I also put this through a hypergeometric calculator to show what are your chances of hitting. So if you have 1 Pigs of the Sounder, you have a 21% chance of hitting. If you have 2, you have a 38% chance. If you have 3, you have a 52% chance, which isn't like great odds, but it's also like you do get a 3 mana, 3 power minion for free out of it. So like maybe you play it. So I think I would play Squeakers if I had a Grand Old Boar and probably like 2 Pigs of the Sounder, then it might be worth it. But what do you think? How many pigs do you need to play Squeakers?
In a 24 card deck, at least 2. And actually, the pigs are not enough, so you really have to have the Old Boar as well. And then the matter is like, how many Squeakers would you actually play? Like 2, 3?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it happening. So I give it also like a build around grade, but even then I would not recommend it. The pigs and the Old Boar, that's a different story because it is just backbreaking if you can make it work. But Squeakers into a pig, I mean, it is good, but like, again, the chance that you actually have it, I would not recommend it.
All right.
Okay. So perhaps I'll introduce the Common Cottagers, which is one of the 4. And actually, it's not really an Earth card because you can play it in any deck. It doesn't require any threshold. It is the Common Cottager, 2 mana for 2 power, and it provides Earth thresholds. Personally, I was very curious about these cards. I play a bunch with them. I like them. I think they're good. They make me feel safe, actually. Also, when I play a third element in my deck, which I 80% of the time do, I try to really get them 1 of 2 of these extra color, and it really helps me. Because sometimes I draw them and I didn't draw the land, and I just keep them on hand if it's really necessary. So, yeah, I would say C to C minus.
Okay. Yeah, I give them a C. I play them pretty regularly, and exactly what you said. Yeah, if you're splashing, these are still not a high pick, but you'll want like one or two of them. Kettletop Leprechaun, 2 mana, 1 Earth Threshold, 2 power minion. It is an ordinary fairy, and it has Deathrite, Draw Sight. I give this a B minus.
I think Kettletop Leprechaun is amazing because basically it is card draw, in this case side draw. So I agree to a C plus D minus. It's really, I always want to pick it, so I think B minus, sorry, is could be right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it really helps when you're splashing too. Like, so good to have like in your primary elements. Like, don't splash it, but if you're splashing something else, like yeah, Kettletop is such an amazing card. One of the best ordinaries, probably in the top 10 ordinaries or something.
Yeah, you want to have 2-drops, and this gives you your sides, so you don't have to think about and worry. You actually want them to kill themselves. So yeah, the card is very good. Mm-hmm. Next one is Wall of Brambles, 2 mana for an ordinary aura. And it says, conjure atop the border of an allied site. Whenever an enemy traverses this wall on the ground, it takes 2 damage. So I really dislike these kind of cards. For me, it is really a D minus to F. So the only effect that the card has, it slows down your opponent a little bit. But that never, for me, translates into a full card. And everything that is bigger than 2 mana or 2 power just walks over it. I mean, there is no instant effects or whatever. So, yeah, this is for me just complete crap.
Yeah, I gave it a D minus. I put like build around maybe like D plus. If you have like 1 or 2 Coinexies, maybe you can like play a Wall of Brambles. But honestly, it's so bad. There's no way.
But even then, it only does 2 damage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your Amazon War, get over here. And then, okay, then you might kill it with your 3-part minion. Okay, but then it's still a 1-for-1. So, yeah, this, never ever.
All right, Blue Cap Knockers, 3 mana, 3 mana, 2 Earth Threshold for a 3 power minion. It's an exceptional fairy. It has Burrowing, and it has Blue Cap Knockers Sight can't be moved, destroyed, or modified, which I guess is somewhat relevant for a couple of cards, like Hamlet's Ablaze. Is there anything else? Is there anything that even like floods a site or anything? I don't know. Basically, it's a 3 mana, 3 power Burrowing, which I give a C plus.
I agree. I think due to the thresholds, I give it a C.
Okay.
Next one is Duel. It is 3 mana for an ordinary magic, which says an ally fights target enemy adjacent to it. I think this is a situational card. It is not a bury, by far not. So you really have to have another minion. Is the card good? Yes, as long as you have 4-part minions in your deck. But if you have nothing on the board, you draw this, you really feel bad. The good thing about Duel is it is a finisher, so you can easily finish off your opponent if it's on death's door, so that makes it good. So for the first part, I would just give it a C minus because you really have to have the interaction with your minions. Now, we always play minions, so Duel is often okay. But then being a finisher, I would give it just a C, but I would never put more than, I think, normally 1 in my deck is fine, 2 is already borderline for me.
Yeah, I gave this a C, and I think if you have nothing that's like 4 or more power, it's probably like a D, but in most Earth decks, I think it'll be like a C level card. Mm-hmm. Field Laborers is 3 mana for 2 Earth Threshold, 3 mana and 2 Earth Threshold for 2 power minion. It's an ordinary mortal, and it has tap, gain 2 mana this turn. So it can ramp you a bunch, but you're also paying a big cost. It's 3 mana double Earth Threshold for 2 power is such a horrible deal. But honestly, I will play it sometimes. I have this as C minus. Basically, like most of my decks, I play like C or higher cards, but every once in a while, if I don't make playables, I'll play C minus level cards. Like I'll usually have like 2 C minuses in my deck, and sometimes this will be one of them, but I just won't really be happy about it, which might make it more of like a D plus. But
Yeah, I have it as a build around card. It really depends on the huge minions you have in your deck. Like, this card is good if you can actually cast it on turn 3, which means you have to have your double threshold. So that is already not an easy thing to do, not guaranteed. And then basically on your fourth turn, you go to 6 mana. So in that case, if actually on your fourth turn you can cast a 6-part minion, like a Wyvern or whatever, then it's really good. And that is what the build around. But all the rest, it's really not good. Like, it's only a 2-part minion. Often you have to play it in the back to keep it safe, so it doesn't have a direct impact on the game. So honestly, I like it when people play this against, even if they cast a Wyvern on turn 4, like, I can block with 2 minions. I mean, so yeah, I give it a D plus or a build arounds.
Okay.
Next one is the Pix of the Summoner, which we talked about. So it's 3 mana, 2 threshold of Earth for 3 power, which is decent. And then the Deathrite ability is reveal your next 5 spells, then summon all Grand Old Boars from among them to the side, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So it's really funny that it says all Grand Old Boars, because if you could have like a draft with 3 of them. And honestly, I'm not kidding, we had a draft where there were 3 old boars, and somebody took 2 and with 2 picks. So the guy won, of course. So in general, if you don't have an old boar, it is again AC. It is just a 3-part minion, which is expensive due to the heavy cost. If you have an old boar, then it becomes suddenly like a B plus, I think, if you can have multiple, because you just have that chance. Like, if the old boar will actually get charged, and so the impact is too much to deal with. So then it really is very strong.
Yep, totally agree. I have it at C or B plus if you have a Grand Old Boar.
No.
Next card is Rescue. It is 3 mana, 2 Earth Threshold for an ordinary magic. It says return a minion from your cemetery to your hand. I have this as C minus. I basically never play it, but if I had to, like, I would put this in a deck and I'd be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. C minus. The thing is, it also depends on your minions. Like, if you have a slower, more controlly deck and you have like 1 bomb, then the 17 or 18 minion could be a rescue, just in case, like, if they would be able to deal with it, then you can get it back. So I don't mind rescue, but I never find room for it, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, C minus seems okay. I don't dislike it to get my best minion back, but that means that we're already into the middle game. And it also means that you have to first pay that 3 mana, which is like, if you get a 4-part minion back, you cannot cast it the same turn, so it's very slow. Next one is Tax Collector, 3 mana, 2 thresholds as well for a 2-part minion, which is an ordinary mortal. And it has a Genesis effect that says on your opponent's next turn, their spell costs 1 more. The effect is amazing. Like, if you play this on turn 3, on curve, on the play, you will get a big advantage out of this. But if it's that early, then potentially they have a 2-drop or a 3-drop that they can put. So yeah, I'm not very amazed, although I love the idea and it's super annoying. The impact is not enough, I think. I mean, there could be, I can envision a game where the tempo is so tight that it lets you win the game or get such an advantage because they cannot cast their 4-part minion. But the risk is too high, and it's only good in that situation. So later in the game, it's just awful. So I give Tax Collector a D plus.
Yeah, D plus or C minus is where I'm at. I actually like this more than Field Laborers, just because, like, tapping my minion to add 2 mana, it just feels horrible. Like, I never ever want to do that. I would rather just have a Genesis ability, and if it matters, it matters, and if it doesn't, like, that's fine, because I'm never going to tap my minion to activate an ability.
Mm-hmm.
Brown Bears. This is the headliner of Earth at Ordinary, at least. So Brown Bears is 4 mana, 2 Earth Threshold for 4 power, and it's an ordinary beast. That's it. No abilities, but that's a great card. So 4 mana for 4 power. It just beats every single card that we've read so far. It's great with duel. There's lots of like little combos that you can do with it, and it's just a big beater that'll kill your opponent in 5 turns if it's totally unchecked. So very important card to the format. It's kind of the card that I've been benchmarking a lot of cards against. And I give it a B-. It really does pull me into Earth. Like if I see a 3rd or 4th pick Brown Bears, I get pretty interested in Earth.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this one because this is actually what we believe is one of the best ordinaries. So there it's only like the 2 Earth thresholds. I tend to agree, but it doesn't really pull me 100% into Earth. So I'm more like between C plus and B minus, probably a bit more to the B minus because as said, it is one of the best minions in Arthurian Legends. Yeah, give me 2 or 3 Brown Bears and I'll jump in Earth happily.
Well, you got to take the first one if you want to get the 2nd or 3rd. So
that's true, but like if the pack opens, rarely I will take a Brown Bears. Like there's often more interesting stuff but the Brown Bear is really the body that you want. Yeah,
it's really risky to go into Earth because it is bad. Like it's especially bad because it's so shallow. Like if it wasn't so shallow, then it could support like 2 or 3 people at the table. But honestly, Earth as a primary element can probably support 1 person at a table, and that's just so shallow. And if there's 1 or 2 other people at the table drafting Earth, like your deck's just gonna turn out horribly.
Yeah, and if we compare it to beta with Amazon Warrior, like 5 for 5, that's even better than a Brown Bear or on the same power level, but the 1 threshold really makes such a big difference. And that is why the Amazon Warrior is often picked first, because with Brown Bears, you really commit yourself to Earth, and it's not your 3rd optional color. You really have to go deep in it from the start, which is always a bit risky. Anyway, I love Brown Bears, and the art is amazing. All right, Hunting Party, which is a 4 mana, 1 Earth threshold, 3 power minion, which says it's an exceptional mortal. It is a ranged minion, and it says nearby enemy lose stealth. I think this is a very good card. I'm always happy to play 1, 2, or even 3 in my deck. Yes, it is a bit costly, but in Arthurian Legends there is a lot of stealth. So just having that option is amazing. And ranged is always good. Ranged is good to intercept airborne minions, if that still works with the new rules. Yes. But yeah, ranged can be moved. And anyway, I think Hunting Party for me is definitely a C+.
Okay. Yeah, I have it at C+ as well. Having 1 threshold is really nice. Like I could see myself splashing 1 of these. It's a little sad to see that it's 4 mana, not 3 mana. Like we had the Longbowman in beta, and it's obviously much worse than that, but it's still a great card. Like I'm probably not cutting this card from pretty much any Earth deck. So
yeah, but I think the stealth is not to be underestimated. Like there it feels okay to have that 1 extra mana, just to be on that safe side.
All right, Stone Rain is the next one. It's 4 mana, 2 Earth threshold for an exceptional magic. Target a site up to 2 steps away, deal 1 damage to everything atop it, repeat for each site in your hand. So normally you can set this up to, even if you top deck it, you could probably do 2 damage to something 2 steps away. So that's like not a ton of damage. It hits everything on the site. It hits things with stealth. So it's interesting. I think it's not really good removal though. I have it at C-. I don't really play this card very often. Do you play this card?
Well, funny enough, I played 2 in my last draft deck, and actually it is quite good because I also had leprechauns. And so if you know it that you have 2 cards in your deck, actually I was able to... One, it's like an easy kill spell also, like it deals damage to your opponent, so that gives me a bit of safety. And just it's damage for everything. So like we like the minor explosions. So I would give it a C. I mean, it is playable. You know, if you put it in your deck, it is also double threshold, so you are committed. So without leprechauns, I don't think I would play this. But like at a certain moment, your avatar has nothing to do, right? So you just draw sides and then you just keep them a little bit on hand, and then actually it goes quite fast. I had games where I just three sides in hand, which is 4 damage to all, which is okay, but it's not happening really fast. Okay, then we come to a very funny one, which is a 5 mana for Tankless Squire, which is also 2 Earth Threshold, a 1-part immobile minion, an ordinary mortal with the words lands, lands, lands. So the funny thing is, before the rule change, this was just very bad. I mean, it could not do anything, it could not attack, it could not block. And then with the 3 lances, you could boost the minion severely with it, and that's the only thing, basically. The other squires at least could have interaction, they could block or charge in or whatever, steal, tap. This one, just straight up D or F, I would never play with it. Now, with the immobile, so the rules have changed, so that means that now it can block. It can also attack on the side, but you cannot cast it on your opponent's side. I mean, not really. So the only thing that it could do is block once. So I guess it has improved a little bit, but I just would say never play it. I have somebody that is testing it, but so far without much success. So for me, D minus.
Yeah, I don't get this Squire. Like, why did they do this to Earth? You know, like they already took away the 3 mana 3-power minion at Ordinary. Like, why did they also make like one of the most important cards to the format are the 4 squires, and this one's just complete garbage compared to the other one. Like, why is it 5 mana? Like, I think if this was 4 mana, it would still be like a D. Like, if it was 3 mana, I could maybe, I could get with it then, but yeah, 5 mana, I just don't understand. So yeah, I gave this a D as well. I don't think I've ever played it. Wyvern is next. Is it Wyvern or Wyvern? I don't know.
Well, you're the native speaker, so you tell me.
It is 6 mana, 2 Earth Threshold for a 5-power minion. It's an exceptional beast, but it's also a dragon, and it has Airborne. So 6 mana, 5-power Airborne. That's an amazing card. It kills every minion that we've said, including brown bears. And yeah, this is a reason to be in Earth, basically. Like, this is a real thing that will pull you into Earth. Like, I could see first picking this in a pack. So I gave this a B.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wyvern, I call it Wyvern, is perfectly balanced. Like, it is a very strong minion, 5-power Airborne is amazing, but it is expensive. And if you start attacking and the other one has 2 3-part minions, they can block, which is 6 damage, so you can only kill one of them. So it is not completely overpowered, but it is powerful enough that basically if you cannot deal with it, it will just run away with the game. So I like Wyvern, I think it's a straight up B. All right, then we come to our Fomorians, because we have 2 Fomorians. I'm interested to see if it has an impact on the score. So it's a 7 mana Dirium Fomorians for 6 powers, 2 Earth Threshold, it's an exceptional giant, and it has Burrowing and Submerge. Like, overall, I would say this card is okay to good. So I think I give it a C plus or a C, because it's very expensive. And Arthurian Legends is super fast format. I know we said we should not take it into context too much, so I would say 7 for a 6-part minion. It's okay, but Arthurian Legends is just so fast that like the impact of the card is not enough. If you're on the back foot and the blocking effect, it rarely turns the game because of the Dirium Fomorians. So that's why I'm more to go for a C. It is less good than I originally thought, but if you just can cast it on curve, of course it's a beast, and you cannot get rid of it, you cannot bury it or submerge it. So yeah, I'm on, I think, more C.
Yeah, it's funny. Like on curve really means turn like 10 or something.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so it's just so slow. And yeah, I think we can take the speed of the format into our ratings for sure. Like the color preference is a different thing because like you're already in Earth, but yeah, the format is really fast. I think I had this as like a B minus originally when the set came out or when I started drafting it. But yeah,
Sure.
this is a interesting card to rate because I also landed on C, which is so weird for a 7 mana 6 power minion. Like it has
I
just such a
remember
huge impact on the game. If it lands and it's not too late for it to land, like it can just run the game, but that just doesn't happen very often.
for me it clicked when in our drafts one of the very good players in the beginning, like he had three in his deck, like two Dirium Fomorans and then the water one, and he lost just 0-3. He lost all three games, and then they clicked like, huh, wow, okay, so is it really that slow? So
All right, we're moving on to fire then. The first card in fire is Charge. It is 1 mana, 1 earth threshold for an ordinary magic, and it says give an ally charge this turn. So you play Harassing Ruffians, and then you spend 1 mana to give it charge. And a card, importantly. So that's almost never worth it. I don't think I've ever. I think I have actually maybe seen someone cast charge, and it was like, oh, okay, well they did do the thing. Like they got a 1-for-1 with it, which is like the best that you could possibly hope for. But I give it a D minus. I'm never ever putting this card in a deck, especially since Earth is the best element and it's so deep. Like you're just never gonna have room for this.
yeah, it's very funny because I completely agree what you said. I also would give it a D, but I'm more to a D plus because I must say, like, I was curious about this card, still am, and I tested also. I think also I had one horrible draft with not enough playables, and I had to put two in my deck. And actually, it was quite good, actually, both of the times. So, but what you say is completely true. So I would
Yeah.
never advise to play this card. But actually, there's some situation where it's actually has a big impact because some minions, when activating or tapping, or it has an extra effect. But yeah, so it's a funny card. I think it's for me. It's definitely not never play this card. I see there are some, but I would just say D plus. They're just better cards to play, which are way more consistent.
All right.
Then we have a red breast Robin, sorry, a 1 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 1 power airborne ordinary beast. And it says at the end of your turn, each other unit here takes 1 damage. We talked about this already in the other set. Quickly, I think Red Breast Robin deserves its place. I think what is very good of Red Breast Robin is that it really lets you trade up. Like all your 2-part minions can now deal with 3-part minions. Your 3-part minions can deal with 4-part minions. It is an airborne, so it also covers a lot of space if you want to defend. And if you are the aggressor and are winning, then when the Robin flies to your opponent and on his head he deals 2 damage a turn, hitting the side and the effect. So I think Red Breast Robin is actually a good card. Now, you have to take into consideration that there are a lot of effects that deal 1 damage, like Burning Hands, etc. So I don't put 3 in his deck. I have no issue with putting 1, maximum 2 in my deck. If I put 2, then I really have a very slow, low curve minion and fast deck. I would give Red Breast Robin a C+.
Yep, that's my grade too. Yeah, you just have to be really aware of what the removal is in the element that you're playing against. So if they're playing fire, probably stay out of line of sight ideally. But if you're the aggressor and you just need to get 2 damage in per turn, if you have the opportunity to just get 2 damage in per turn by attacking their site and they have their avatar there, then you should just do that. But
yeah, and sometimes it's really situational. So if your opponent is on the play and you are getting attacked, sometimes it's just good to have it in hand so he doesn't see it. And then basically my 3-part minion can attack his 4-part minion. You're dealing damage, you just cast it and kill that minion, which is actually quite good. So I like the card.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really high on this card when Arthurian Legends came out, and then for some reason I just got really low on it, and then I think I I saw it get killed for free too many times, and I was just like, this card is trash. I'm just gonna stop playing it. And then I started playing it again, and it is a C plus. I think you should play it most of the time, but I would play like one of them. I don't think I would play two.
I think you really have to be careful what you say. Like, there are deserts out there. There's a lot of stuff that deal 1 damage, etc. There's also, what is it? The power of flight. I mean, there's the insults. So there are a lot of ways to kill it. So you really have to be conscious about this. But yeah, I still like it.
All right, Blacksmith Family is next. We already talked about it basically, but it's the fire version of Common Cottagers, and it's also a C.
Mm-hmm. Then we come to Saracen Scout, 2 mana, 1 fire threshold, 2 power, an ordinary mortal which says maybe cast to any side without enemies. I don't like this card actually. It's okay for me. It is a filler card, so it's a C minus, I think. They're always better. I rather play the family than the scout. I think the effect to be casted to any side without enemies is not that big because it doesn't have charge. And like if your opponent then casts a 3-part minion on top of it, you just lose a card. So I'm not a fan. I think most 2 drops are better than the Saracen Scout.
Yep, I also had a C minus. Right next to Blacksmith Family, it's like that ability just doesn't really do anything on the scout. So I'd just play a Blacksmith Family over it. Warhorse is next. It is 2 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 2-power minion. It is an exceptional beast, and it has charge, and it has may carry an ally. This is a really good card. I mean, charge is a powerful ability. Even on a 2-power minion, they can just get in for damage right away. It's a really nice turn 2 play. You can do some kind of tricky stuff with it, like you can move your avatar into an advantageous location, or you can move one of your other minions into a better location to do their attack, stuff like that. So I have it at B minus. I think it's a reason to go into earth or into fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Warhorse is crazy good. I think you play on a grid. Movement is everything in Sorcery. If you can combine it with ranged, like I've done it multiple times, just move your range, it has its effect. So actually for Warhorse, I'm on B plus actually, because it's that big of a deal. And it really does the 2 damage after it did its thing. You can also bring your part 1 closer, so you will always gain advantage of it. It doesn't really draw me into fire. So if I open my booster, I mean, I evaluate it highly, but because of the 1 threshold, it's something you always want to have. And as you say, fire is so deep that there is no risk into going Warhorse. But yeah, the card is amazing. Okay, then we come to Burning Hands, 3 mana for a ordinary magic 1 fire threshold, which says may be cast by an allied mortal. Choose 2 different cardinal directions and deal damage to each unit at location in the area of effect. And then there is that drawing that goes up and to the right, which is an L shape. So for newer players, it can shoot in any direction. So it also can go really horizontal to each side. Very important to know, because honestly, I did not realize that in the beginning. Very funny, but in the beginning I was not like, yeah, it's okay, there are better cards, but Burning Hands is just amazing because you can also cast it from mortals, and there are so many mortals in this game, all the families and the Vikings, and I don't know, there's so many mortals. So this card is always good because there are a lot of 2-part minions. There is blockers that line up just to defend to each other, so you can just deal damage to it. Sometimes you can remove a minion with 2, but then take out the bird to your left. It's so versatile. So I think Burning Hands is definitely a C+.
Okay. Yeah, I have it at B minus. I think it's just such a solid removal spell. And yeah, I'll splash for it. That's a pretty good indicator. That's a very good card. And yeah, it's so flexible. Like basically any of your minions can cast it. There's just so many mortals in the set. Hamlet's Ablaze is next. It's a 3 mana, 2 fire threshold aura at Ordinary. And it says, conjure atop an ordinary or exceptional site at the start of your turn. Destroy this site and minions atop it and hamlets ablaze. So it blows up a site. You have to wait a turn, and it kills anything else that they left there. But on their turn, they can just move all their stuff away from it. So normally I have this as a D. I have almost never played this card, maybe a couple times. But if you have some combos with it, then you might get this up to like a C, I think. So there's Bog and Babbling Brook are the two water sites that can disable or immobilize a site. So you can play that site, immobilize something, like immobilize their two minions on that site, and then play Hamlet's Ablaze, and then they can't move their stuff away before it goes off. And then Sir Tristan at Unique is the one that like taps a minion and it doesn't untap, and then Rita is the one that they just don't untap any of their minions. So yeah, those are the combos that I found for Hamlet's Ablaze, and I think that moves it up to like a C. I mean, maybe higher if you get like a bunch of these combos, but for the most part, I'm just not playing this card. But watch out for times that you can get a bunch of bogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always troubled about Hamlet's Ablaze because if you cast it on turn 3, the card is actually good. But there is the very annoying part, like if you're on the play, it is amazingly good. But if you're on the draw and you are being attacked, then I think you still can get away with it on turn 3. But so it's very narrow. You really have that third turn to cast it, and you better have a 2-drop already there, because otherwise you will just get blown out. Of course, if you're on the play and you cast your Hamlet on turn 3, it is an effect that your opponent feels the whole game. He will always be 1 mana behind, and that is just amazing. But like it is so narrow, like I tried it out, and yeah, I don't play it with it anymore, because otherwise you just lose to it or don't think about it, drawing it at turn 7, 8, and it has no effect anymore. So too dangerous constructed card for me. So it is probably a D+, I'm afraid to say. All right, Harassing Ruffians, 3 mana, 2 fire threshold for a 3-part minion. It's also an ordinary mortal, and it says units attacked by Harassing Ruffians cannot be defended. I think this is a monster of a card. I mean, given that it's an ordinary, so I give it to a C+, because although it has a 2 fire threshold, which is a bit annoying, the effect is not to be underestimated. He doesn't care about defenders or whatever. He doesn't care about your opponent is defended by 6 minions. It will just straight up kill it. So reference are really good. Straight C+ for me.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a B-. I think it's pretty much on the same level as Brown Bears. Like, it basically has like pseudo stealth permanently. Like, that's pretty amazing, especially in an aggressive format, in an aggressive element. It just really, everything just like aligns really well for this card. It's so amazing. Mm-hmm. Joust is next. It is 3 mana, 1 fire threshold. It's an ordinary magic, and it has an ally targets an enemy they're adjacent to. Then they both take a step to swap places. If they pass each other, they fight. So basically, it's 2 units that are next to each other fight, and maybe your unit moves where their unit was if it survives. So it's basically the same as Duel, but I actually have it rated as a C-, just because like Earth has a little bit more beef in it. And also like Fire has all this other like premium removal in it that I think Joust just doesn't make the cut a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it is similar. So I agree. I don't know what the score is you gave it.
I gave it a C-.
C-. I agree. I think Jaws has a bit of an extra advantage sometimes because you can swap and your minion can actually get 1 step further to deal extra damage. Also, if you have like a troll bridge, which actually happens in Firewater, then you can do some funny things with it. But overall, as you say, there's so much in Fire that if I play it just, it's only 1. If I really have no removal, whatever, then I might consider playing 2. I'm not against it, but yeah, again, you really have to have that minion to have its effect. And yeah, it happens that sometimes it just stuck in your hand, and so C minus seems right.
Yeah, I think the movement part, like, you would think is good, but it's like on average I think it's pretty even. Like, you don't actually choose which direction you move, it's just wherever their minion happens to be. Like, I've definitely had it be a downside where I really want my minion to end up here so I can block in this direction, but I can't because I need to joust, and it's actually gonna move my thing backward or to the side or some awkward position. So it's not really an upside, I think, most of the time.
Then we come to Pukas, which is a 3 mana, 2 fire threshold card. Only 2 power, an exceptional fairy, apparently. And it has a Deathrite ability, which says each opponent discards a random card. I had to play it when Eric's Curiosity did their launch event. I think I played with it and I played against it. The card is really annoying. So normally I'm never a fan of 3 mana, 2 part minions, but this one really is super annoying because actually I learned to just ignore it. You just have to kill it and let it just discard your card at random, because otherwise if you start playing around this, your opponent, you are giving your opponent so much advantage for this. Just kill it. And so if Pukas can trade with another 2 part minion, you actually are getting a 1 for 2. Which is very good. So Pukas is just way annoying. I like playing with it. It doesn't always get the cut because if I have to put 3 ruffians in play, I will definitely play that ruffians. But yeah, I like Pukas. I would give it a C.
Yeah, I gave it a C too. Like, I really, really do like the effect, and when I see it, I do get a little excited, but over time, yeah, I have come down on it a little bit just because this is more of an aggressive format, and it's not so much about attrition. Like, it still is, but yeah, it's kind of a tricky one to evaluate. But yeah, I do cut it some of the time.
Also, it sets a random card, so often I will kill it in my turn, and I will try just to get 2 sides in my hand, just to get a bit more lucky. If it would have set a random spell, then it would definitely be good C.
All right, next we have Reckless Squire. This is 3 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 1 power minion. It's an ordinary mortal, and it has charge and lance. So there's lots of tricky things you can do with this. The baseline is you play it, you drop the lance, you give it to something else, they kill their minion with it, and then you can like attack with this, or you can use it to block the minion that just attacked or something like that. But you can also, like, if your minion is on their site already, you can use this. You can play it, move, drop the lance, have your other thing pick it up, and then attack with the lance. So yeah, this one has like the most range out of, I think, all of the squires, and you can also just play it as a deal 2 and have a 1 power minion left over, which is an amazing deal still. So I have this as a B-.
Interesting. Yeah, I think so. Shameless Squire is for me the best, and it still is. But like Reckless Squire and Weightless Squire were more or less on the same level. But I don't agree with that at all. Like, Reckless Squire has gone up so much because it can straight up kill a 2 part minion with the lance, and you just still have the 1 part for a blocker, so that's already useful. But then it can do all the shenanigans, but it's also often the case that you actually just need to do 1 extra damage. Like, if I want to trade up and I need that 1 extra damage, the Reckless Squire just does it, and by the way, it just gives a lance to something else, or it keeps it and then stays alive. So yeah, B-, I think that is right. You want to have this in your deck. Next one, Red Cap Pauris, 3 mana for a 3 part minion with 2 fire thresholds, and it is an exceptional fairy with charge. The text says, if Red Cap Pauris haven't attacked by the end of your turn, they die. This card is insanely strong. In beta, we would have the 4 part charger, which was very strong. This one is better. Yes, it has a 2 threshold, but that's not an issue in an aggressive deck. The effect that they would die by the end of the turn if they haven't attacked. That is rarely an issue. Yes, there are some cases, but even now with making it immobile, even that doesn't work anymore, because with the new rulings they can still attack. So actually that is completely to be ignored. Basically it's a 3-part minion for 3 mana that has charge. I would give the Red Cap Pauris it's a B for me. If I open it, does it really draw me in? No, because I think I'm just searching for bigger, higher level. But if I have to choose between a brown bear and a red cap Pauris, that is a very difficult choice to make. And then I would think that the red cap Pauris is the better card.
Yeah, that's like a secret little buff to this card with the rules change I didn't even think about until right now. Yeah, like Bog just doesn't stop this thing anymore because it's basically always on your opponent's site. So, yeah, wow. Yeah, I have it at B as well. Fire Breathing is next. It is 4 mana, 2 fire threshold for an exceptional magic. It says it may be cast by an allied beast or dragon. Choose a cardinal direction and deal damage to each unit at a location in the area of effect. So it deals 4 directly in front, and then it has this like cross pattern. Yeah, so I have this as B+. I think it's like really one of the best removal spells that you can get, especially at exceptional. Yeah, this card's just a monster. There's not a ton of beasts in fire, I don't think. There's like the Robin, but there's plenty of beasts in this set. It's basically mortal or beast for the most part. So yeah, lots of flexibility. Even just guessing that your avatar is perfectly good. Deals a death blow. I mean, 4 is a really important number. It kills brown bears.
I completely agree. B+. The card is a monster. It's funny how way better this card is than a Fireball, which basically also deals 4 damage, but it's in a cardinal direction. Like here, you would think like, oh, but it's limited to the positioning. But like the spellcast is on the move, you have it in hand. Like the 1 damage that it does is nothing. Yeah, Fire Breathing is very strong for only 4 mana. Then we come to a Lumbering Giant, a 4 mana, 4-part minion, which is an ordinary giant for 2 fire thresholds, and it says cannot defend or intercept. So I've been very confused about this card from the start. Is it not good? Because it's a 4 for 4, but it cannot defend, etc. So I have my personal answer. I think Lumbering Giant is very good. Actually, so in the beginning everybody was excited by Vikings, but now I think Lumbering Giant is better than the Vikings. Not always, of course. The cannot defend is sometimes very annoying and it will let you lose the game. So of course Viking is the better card, but it also costs 1 more. So Lumbering Giant is for me a C plus to a B minus. That's too far. But a very high C+. I don't mind putting 3 of these in my deck. Just for the sole purposes, like, it is on the battlefield. Like, everybody's like, hey, it cannot defend. That is true. But the next turn, it can attack, right? So if you are what are you going to do? Attack me with your 3-part minion? Then the next turn, I'll just kill it. So it's fine. Of course, if you're getting overrun, then the cannot defend really will lose you the game, but that is justified for discards. And in the whole fire and with all the strength fire carries, I think Lumbering Giant is a very well balanced card for the whole package of fire. I think Lumbering Giant is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm like a little higher on this card for myself just because I tend to draft like really aggressive, scrappy decks, and this just fits in really well with that. Like I'm usually the one that's the aggressor and on my opponent's sites and stuff. So yeah, but I think C+ is correct. It is definitely a downside. Like I've seen my opponents play a Lumbering Giant in situations where they're way behind, and it is a huge downside to have no blocking ability with it. Like of course it can kind of defend, like when it untaps it can kill one of your minions or whatever, but yeah, sometimes it's just too late. But an amazing card. I'm probably never cutting it from a deck, so I give it a C+. Next we have Saracen Raiders. This is 4 mana, 2 fire threshold for 3 power. It is an exceptional mortal. It has charge, and it says it may be cast to any site without enemies. So the positioning really, really matters on this card. You can just play it usually adjacent to their avatar and get in, so it can kind of deal the death blow a lot of the time. And charge is just super powerful, even if you're playing it on your side. Like, this is just a great card. So I have it as B minus.
Yeah, like if you would compare it to the Petrosian cavalry of beta, which was more or less the same but only had charge, I think these raiders, they're so amazing, because here it really is important that you can cast it on your enemy's turns. It can be sneaky, it can come from behind, it even can, if the avatar is on the run, it can get in right away. Yeah, I think you gave it a B minus. Yeah, I completely agree. A very strong card. Then we come to Shadow Strike, which is a 4 mana, 1 fire threshold exceptional magic, which has an ally targets an enemy adjacent to them, destroying an artifact they carry and then striking them. I think Shadow Strike is a very good card, but it is a bit expensive. The 4 mana is not to be underestimated. But it also lets me feel safe, like against this sword and shield, like the lances, but the lances go very fast. The fact that you can kill a lance, sure, but then I would rather kill the minion than steal that lance. But just to have the effect, like the helm that gives protection, kills it, and Shadow Strike just kills enemies. Like if you have lumbering giants in your deck, then probably you will kill a lot of them. So Shadow Strike, I would give it a B minus. It is also just to kill your opponents. B minus.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a C plus just because it's a little bit expensive, but yeah, it is cool. I just realized like it destroys the artifact before it strikes. So if they do have a sword and shield and your thing is smaller, like it can actually still just kill it. But yeah, it's very important that this is a strike and not a fight like Joust. It's so much better than Joust.
Yeah. But it also let me play my artifacts more safely, because if they would steal them, I can just Shadow Strike it back. So.
Yep, one of the combos with Sword and Shield. Siege Giant is next. 4 mana, 2 fire threshold for a 4 power minion. It's an exceptional giant. And it says, once on your turn, Siege Giant may throw a weaker ally here through the air to a nearby location. So it can kind of just teleport your minions around. So it has like pseudo charge, like you play it and it has an ability that is effective immediately. Like it just blinks one of your minions. So I give it a B, because that movement really does matter a lot. You can throw your avatar with it, I believe, right? Yeah. So yeah, super good card. 4 mana, 4 power. It's a brown bears with upside. So that's a B, maybe even a B plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think here we differ a bit. I think Sea Giant is an A minus.
Okay.
I think Sea Giant is so incredibly strong. You always want to have this in your deck. And as said, for me, Sorcery is about movement. This can throw squires somewhere. This can throw avatars somewhere. They can throw stealth minions somewhere. Like, it is always good. Really, Sea Giant can dominate the board from afar. Yeah, I think like if you think brown bear is good, like this is a brown bear, but then with an upside that is incredible. Yeah. And if you have like a warhorse, and that is not unthinkable to have, then they can throw itself, etc. Yeah. Sea Giant has so many different ways to be ugly. You have some annoying sirs that can be flown, flies somewhere. Yeah, I think Sea Giant is incredibly strong. So I give it the first A minus for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think I might have had this at A minus, and then I lowered my grades a little bit. But yeah, I can see it. You basically get a full card worth of value from just that you play it and you throw something and then it eats something else. Like, yeah, it's basically a 2-for-1. It's immediately when you play it, and that's kind of a signature of an A level card.
Yeah, basically it's like we all love Blink, right, of beta.
Yeah.
And basically this one just gives free Blink to, okay, it has to be not as strong as C, but that's also not a big deal most of the time. Anyway, I love Sea Giant. I think that's bonkers. Then we come to Lava Flow, and so talking about very strong cards. So Lava Flow is a 5 mana to fire threshold for an exceptional magic, which has Lava Flow. Lava flows from the caster's side in a cardinal direction. Deal damage to each other unit occupying a site in the area of effect, and then where the caster is, it deals 5 damage. The next one is 4, and then 2. Lava Flow is a straight A for me. Um, like if you don't see, just play with the cards. You often just blow up 2 big minions of him. Although it can also deal such an amount of high damage to your opponent's avatar that it will also put him to death's door. So Lava Flow, it is incredibly strong. So A for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have it at A minus, but like honestly, you should just never pass this card. Basically, like it can just be like a one-sided board wipe some of the times. Yeah, absolutely nuts card. Like this should probably be like an elite.
Yeah. For me, I have it in both ways. That or I'm losing and I have a Lava Flow and I blow up 3 of his minions and the game dies. I also had it the other way, that I'm very confident. And then what happens? Like in beta, we would say Poison Nova. Here I would say Lava Flow. Because if you get it against you, the card is very, very strong.
Next we have Vikings, 5 mana, 2 fire threshold for a 4 power minion. It's an ordinary mortal, and it has tap, deal 2 damage to each unit at target adjacent location. I don't really see this get activated all that much, but the threat of activation is very real. Like they just can't play things right next to him. If you can throw it with a siege giant or something cool like that, then you can activate it. But for the most part, it's a 5 mana, 4 power minion, and that probably gets like a C+.
Yeah, I think since you have the Lumbering Giants, I think I'm just on a C for the Vikings. 5 mana for 4 power minions feels right. The ability, although you have it and you have to think about it, I never use it. So yeah, it is just a good card.
Okay, that brings us to water. Do you want me to start Sly Fox?
I'll take it. 1 mana Sly Fox for a 1 power minion, which is 1 water threshold. It is a ordinary beast which has gained stealth at the end of your turn. So basically, Sly Fox is a untargetable, unblockable minion, which sounds amazing. So that ability is still good, and yes, you will be able to deal damage with it. I think there are just too many cards that deal with Sly Fox easily. And I don't want to lose it cheap. Also, when I think like if the game goes 8-9 turns and I have my Sly Fox on turn 1, it will start dealing damage on turn 3. So basically, I will deal 6 damage. And then basically a 3-part minion, if it can survive, just deals more damage. So I would like to be a big fan, but I'm not a big fan of Sly Fox. So I now give it a D+. Or a C minus, but it's D+. I never play with the card anymore. I tried it, but it just gets killed too easily by Red Breast Robins and by Burning Hands, which everybody plays with. So unfortunately, if you really have 1 or 2 Shortened Shields in your deck and you can equip your Sly Fox, then it might be playable. But that's also giving 2 cards for dealing 3 unblocked damage a turn, which is of course not nothing, but I'm at D+ for Sly Fox.
Okay, yeah, I started out as like a D, and I didn't really change my opinion about that. Golden Eagle really likes this card. He would tell me to play Sly Fox and Sword and Shield, and I mean it's an incredible combo if you get those 2 cards. But I think both of those cards are pretty bad. I think you're a bit higher on Sword and Shield than me. Maybe I'll start trying it out. And then Mirror Realm did a set review, and they gave this the grade of like 8 out of 10 or something. They called it the second best ordinary in the whole set, next to Brown Bears. And that made me rethink it a little bit. Like, maybe there's something to it. I've been trying it, and I haven't had much luck with it. Like I've had games where I've gotten like 3 or 4 damage in, and then it just gets picked off by something super free. But a lot of the games, I'll just play it, and they'll play like a desert or some other way to kill it. And yeah, there's just so many answers to it.
I think often what happens, like with people playing Sly Foxes, they're so aggressive and they will deal a lot of damage, like 7 to 13 damage, I would guess, and then it stops. Then something happens, and then the game is turned, and they just lose. Like the impact is just not high enough.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this more when we get to Sword and Shield. How about that? We'll leave it there for now. Thieving Magpie is next. It is a 1 mana, 1 water threshold for 1 power. It is an ordinary beast, and it has airborne, and it also has the ability may pick up carried artifacts with cost 1 or less. So basically it can steal a lance, or it could technically steal like a Ring of Morrigan, but they're just going to ping it down before it gets there anyway. So yeah, it can steal lances, but especially now after the rule change, like lances are not going to be sticking around on the board. They already weren't really. Like they were, sometimes you'd have a unit with a lance on your opponent's site, but for the most part, yeah, this is just gonna be a 1 mana, 1 power airborne minion, and that's even worse than the other bird that we had. So I give this a D minus. I'm just never playing this basically.
Yeah, I agree. I think if the card would say may teleport an artifact with cost 1 or less mana, I still would not play with this. It is so situational. Like in Constructed, you would still, if it would teleport rings, that's another thing. But now it is so specific, it has to be on your side of the board. No, never ever Thieving Magpie. Unfortunately, is a bad card. Then we come to Degradation. It's 2 mana for an exceptional magic with 1 water threshold, which has transformed a mortal into a foot soldier token. On our Sources at the Core Discord, there was a huge discussion about this card. Like, is it good? Is it not good? I was more on the, yes, it is a good card, just because the fact that there are so many good mortals and it just deals with them. But then the counter thing was, yeah, but they still have a foot soldier, and a foot soldier really at the very minimum blocks, so it really prevents damage, or it keeps on attacking or whatever. So, but then I'm like, yeah, but if I can kill his Sir Balin or whatever, then I don't care about that foot. So yeah, I don't know. So I think Degradation is still playable. I would give it a C.
Okay. Yeah, I have it at C minus, and I'll play it as like a 24th card. That's basically what I mean by C minus. Like it'll make the deck sometimes, exactly. But I'm not really going to be excited about it. I think you could say that this is probably better in sealed than it is in draft, because they're going to be more likely to have more Sirs and these really high impact mortals. There are a lot of good mortals, but there's also a lot of mortals that are like already 1 power, and this just does nothing against them. Or like shrinking a 2 power minion into a 1 power minion, like that feels horrible. What about shrinking like a 3 power minion into a 1 power minion? Like that's not good either. So it really has to hit one of the like unique or elite mortals, and that makes it like kind of a sideboard card, and we don't use sideboards. So I'll play it begrudgingly if I need interaction and I need like a 24th card.
I agree. Now, I must say that the times that I played with it, most of the time it was good. Because sometimes they are like blocking, like there is no error. It doesn't say 2 steps away, whatever. So it's anywhere in the realm. And sometimes they keep Immortal for blocking, and just shrinking it down really gets around their plan. So, but yeah.
I realized I didn't give a grade to Sly Fox. I give it a C right now. Like I'll play it, but realistically, like that's trending downward. But I'll give it like a build around B. I think if you have Sword and Shield and ways to steal back your Sword and Shield, but we'll get to those when we talk about Sword and Shield. Anyway, Finwife is next. It's 2 mana, 1 water threshold for 2 power minion. It is an ordinary merfolk, and it has Submerge, and it provides 2 mana for each nearby enemy avatar. I don't know why it says each. That's weird. But yeah, so it can provide 2 mana immediately if you play it right next to their avatar, which can sometimes happen. It's kind of a neat little thing you can do with it. But otherwise, if you move it near their avatar, you have to wait until your next turn, and then it provides the 2 mana at the beginning of your turn if it's still nearby. So it's kind of just a 2 mana, 2 power minion, and the Submerge like doesn't come up very often. I've had it matter sometimes. Like they had like a Bailey and their avatar was there and I had to like swim underneath to get to it. But for the most part, it's just a 2 mana, 2 power minion with like slight upside. I'm higher on it than I think the average person. I think most people have it as like C-, but I have it as a C. Like I play this card a decent amount of the time.
I'm at C-. I think it's just a bad 2-drop.
Yeah.
There are better cards than this. Which brings me to the next card, which is the Fisherman's Family. We talked about this 2 mana, no threshold, 2-part minion that provides water thresholds. We talked about this. Give it a solid C, I think. I like these cards. And I also want to shout out to Eric's Curiosity team for this team of those families, the cottages, the villages, etc. Like, it is so on point. They are really there to support you, to help you out. I love these cards. Very good.
And I love when someone has to say, like, I kill your family, and you're like...
Bastard.
Okay, Grievous Insult is next. It's a 2 mana, 1 water threshold ordinary magic. And it says, may be cast by any ally, silence target nearby minion this turn, and tap it, draw a spell. To note, you do actually have to have a minion to target with this, so you can't just play it on turn 2 if there's nothing to tap. But yeah, this card can do a lot of tricky stuff. Like that silence ability matters a lot. Yeah, you can silence an airborne minion and then attack it. There's some abilities that are just really, they make a big difference on defense. It doesn't take away lances or anything, but blocking something also matters. So it does a lot of like little tricky things, and on top of that, it can kind of just cycle most of the time. So I give it a C. I think I play this a decent amount of the time, but I'm not playing like a bunch of them or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I changed my opinion about these cards upwards. I think I cannot give it a B- because that's way too crazy. But I definitely give it a C+. The fact that it's a cantrip, it draws your spell, so it doesn't cost you anything, but it lets you do all those things. Like the tapping is no joke. Like you can mess up their defense, you can kill an airborne minion. Yeah, I think Grievous Insult is actually... I don't mind playing 2 now in fast decks because it will get that damage in and you just draw your cards. So I think Grievous Insult C+. Yeah. Then we come to Led Astray, a 2 mana ordinary magic with 1 water threshold, which says choose any number of enemies at target location. They take a step together to another location they're adjacent to. I really dislike these cards. I know everything is about movements in Sorcery. That's what I say and claim, but this one is one of the worst of them. Because it is really one location. Like you have the other one of air, which we will also talk about, tactical move, but that at least all minions can move around. Here it's really focused on that one location. And then they just take a step. Yes, it is all of them, but no, this is, I definitely give this a D. I would never play with this. Perhaps if I have 2 troll bridges, etc., but even then, you just have better removal stuff or stuff to do.
Okay, yeah, I give this a D as well. And yeah, if you have a troll bridge and you need a 24th card and you really don't have anything better than this, like it's still only like a D+ or something if you have a troll bridge. Like you still should not be playing it.
Funny side comment is that once, like a few months ago, we did a fun event where we hate drafted. So we drafted for our opponents.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually had like 5 letter strays for him. So
oh, man.
I built a team for his deck.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, Shelly Coat is next. It is 2 mana, 1 water threshold for 2 power minion. It is an ordinary fairy. It has Submerge, and it takes 1 less damage. I have like never seen this thing submerged. I didn't even know it had Submerge until recently. But that's just because it's so good on the board. Yeah, the takes one less damage ability is so relevant. Like it just beats all of the 2 power minions in this set. It beats magic missiles that just deals 0 damage to it. Yeah, this is an incredibly important ordinary in the set. I think that's why water is so good, because it just has the best 2 power or 2 mana minion at ordinary. So I give this a B minus. I think it's just really important.
Wow, that high. Yeah, I agree. I think with Arthurian Legend, they decided, okay, we really have to up Water's game.
Yeah.
And I think they start with the Shellycoat, like this is one of the best 2 drops you can ever had, which is a bit counterintuitive because it takes 1 less damage. Is it that good? Well, yes, it is that good. It is so amazingly annoying, and it actually also sees playing constructed. So yeah, Shellycoat, I'm more at a C plus, the higher level of C plus, because you really want to have 3 in your deck. Shellycoats, especially with the lands, etc. Very, very good.
Yeah, you
cards.
pretty much have to like double block it with 2 power minions to actually get a 1-for-1 with it. Like, it's so nasty.
Yeah. So for the newer players out there, so just to be, so if Shellycoat attacks and you would block with 2 minions, let's say a family of 2 power and a foot soldier, together 3 power. So the damage is combined. So together they are 3 damage, and then Shellycoat will deal 1 less damage. So actually Shellycoat would die if you would block with a family and a foot soldier. But the other way around, if it's like, as you said, like magic missiles, it's 3 separate 1 damages, so they are just nullified. Okay, that brings us to Sugarplum Pixies, a 2 mana, 2 powered minion for 1 water threshold with airborne. It is an exceptional fairy which has at the end of your turn untap another nearby ally. I think if we talk about 2 drops, like there are 3 that spring to my mind, which is of course the Warhorse, which is crazy. But then the Sugar Plum Pixies is definitely up there together with the Tooth Fairies. And I think I can already spoil it. The Tooth Fairies is number 1. The Sugar Plum Pixies is number 2. And the Warhorse is a bit different because it's more like a utility card. But if I am on turn 2, what I really want is the Sugar Plum Pixies or Tooth Fairy. Why? Because they are airborne. They're very safe. It's very difficult to just outright kill them. And the effect to untap a nearby ally is always good. Always. No matter what happens, if you're attacked, like, okay, if you're getting overrun, it will not do its thing. But the fact that Sugar Plum Pixies has airborne and it can block or support, it's just a big supportive card, which also deals damage. I love Sugar Plum Pixies. I think it's... I cannot give it a B minus, I think, just because it's only 2 powers. Like, but yeah, no, I'll go for B minus. I think it is that good.
No, yeah, I have
Really,
it.
really draw me into water from the start. I don't know, because they're probably stronger, more impactful cards. But like this is one of the best cards. I might wish that as my pick 2, 3, 4. I would love to get this.
Yeah, absolutely. I have it as a B minus as well.
Okay.
Koinixie is next. 3 mana, 2 water threshold for a 2 power minion. It is an exceptional merfolk. It has submerge, and it has once on your turn, Koinixie may force target nearby enemy to take a step towards her. Tap that enemy if it is untapped. This card, if you've never played with it, it's so much better than it looks. Like, it just messes with their board so much. Yeah, if you ever just play it and pull their thing and then get some attacks in with your other units or anything, like there's so many cases that this card just like breaks open a game. So I give this, what did I give this? I gave it a B. Yeah, the impact on the game is just incredible, and it's immediate. And yeah, like you pull their thing toward Koinixie, and then really they want to block your other units, but they have to deal with Koinixie first. So really it's not even just one turn that you're messing up. You're probably messing them up for like 2 turns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're 100% on point. I agree with everything you say. A part that I give it a B+. I think Koinixie is so strong. And it's very strange because, as you said, like you really have to play with it to understand how ugly it can be because it can draw in avatars, etc. Like Koenigsee is very good. And if you would compare it to, for instance, Beta with the Guile Sirens, the fact that Guile Sirens, it only happens in the beginning of your turn. So your opponent can completely play around it. But with Koenigsee, when it hits the board, you can immediately activate its effect, which just is such a huge difference between the Guile Sirens. So yeah, B plus for me. Then we come to the Giant Killer. 3 mana for a 2-part minion, an exceptional mortal for 1 water threshold, which it has a Genesis ability, kill target nearby giant. This card carries a lot of history for me from my very first game with Arthurian Legends. I think the card is not good, although there are some giants to take into consideration, because as you say, the chance that your opponent is playing with fire is high, and then the chance that he's playing with a lumbering giant, which is I think the number 1 target, is high. If he has a sea giant, like a lot of giants are really good, so the chance that you will encounter them is high. But I mean, if this is in your hand and your opponent doesn't have a giant, what will you do? Keep it in hand? And this is what happened to me a lot in that first tournament I played. I always had it in my hand. It didn't do anything, and then I threw it out, and then I get a giant against me who then killed me and then put it back in. So I'm not high on Giant Killer. I give it a D+. I don't play with this, but it goes without saying that if you can kill your opponent giant with this card, yeah, you then it's probably like a B minus card. So yeah, but I never play with it.
Yeah, I have it at C minus. I gave Field Laborers and Tax Collector both like C minus to D plus, and this, you know, when it's effective is extremely effective, where like Field Laborers and Tax Collector do not get that, and it's 1 water threshold. It's just better on every account. The only reason that you might play those other cards over this is that like you're not playing water, or you know, water is just a lot deeper than earth, so a lot of cards are just going to push this out, thankfully, because you don't really want to be playing this.
But tell me, like, if you draw this, would you ever play this on turn 3?
If I had nothing else to do, maybe.
That is probably the best that you can do, but if you're not playing it on turn 3, then how long would you keep it in hand? There's always, like, anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough giants that I would keep this in hand, unless for some reason I knew that they had giants in their deck.
Gothic giants. Very curious. They are.
Yeah. Okay, Bloodbog Cat is next. This one is a bomb. So 3 mana, 2 water threshold for a 4 power minion. It's an exceptional beast. It can and must be cast to any water site. So you can, importantly, cast this to your opponent's water sites as well as your own. So the positioning is kind of even, because you can't cast it to all of your sites, but you can cast it to some of their sites sometimes. So it's pretty much just 3 mana, 4 power minion, which is amazing. It's just an autumn unicorn with some weird movement thing. So I give this a B. It just has to be a step above brown bears, basically. So
yeah, I give it a B+. I think the fact that it's a beast and you can also punt it on turn 2, which I actually have done very recently, that is just such a game swing. Like the unicorn at 3 mana for 4 powers is just incredibly strong. It is a bit weird. Like you have to cast it on your water side, so if your water placement doesn't fit, then sometimes it's strange that you have to play it somewhere where you don't want, but this doesn't really happen that often. So yeah, B+ for Logbow Cat. Then we come to one of my favorite cards, the Stainless Squire, 3 mana for a 1 power Squire for 1 water threshold, an ordinary mortal that comes with a lance and has the incredible ability Genesis, tap target nearby enemy, and it drops everything it is carrying. So this is really the anti-lance card or anti-artifact card. And it also taps target nearby enemy. So all the effects, so it has 3 effects. And if you consider blocking for 1 power, then it's a 4 effects. That is just very, very much for 1 card. So give something a lance, it can trade upwards, or not even trade upwards, it can kill upwards, which is very good. lands as such, but to be able to tap a nearby enemy. So I think even if it would be cardinal, it would already be good. But now the fact that you can actually go so diagonally tapping minions, yeah, the card is amazing. And then it happened many times that another person cost any knight a 3/2 with his lance, is very proud of it, and then basically you just tap it, it loses its lance, you kill the minion with your lance, and then you pick up their lance. So this was the old rules, so that doesn't apply today anymore because there is a new rule interacting with the realm that lets you not do that anymore. But even then, just be able to make a lance disappear and just kill the minion same squire is amazing. And it has that extra advantage that it facilitates me to play artifacts way more safely. So I don't mind to have 2 or 3 of these guys in my deck. I think they're very, very good. So with this set, I would give them a very high C plus, even a B minus.
Okay. Yeah, I have them at B minus. What were you saying about interacting with the realm? That doesn't change this card really, does it?
Yeah, no, it's about picking up lances. So whenever you have interacted with the realm, you are not allowed to pick up any artifacts anymore.
No, that's not true. You can't drop artifacts after you interact. You can still pick things up.
Oh yeah, okay, true. Is it the case? Yeah, sorry, I'm no expert yet. Okay, so you cannot drop them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did have to double check on this that like the Genesis didn't count as interacting. Like this can still drop the lance after it does its Genesis ability, thankfully. But anyway, yeah, I agree with everything you said. I used to think that Reckless Squire was better than this one, and then I played with this one more, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, the ceiling for this card is so much higher than Reckless Squire. Yeah, if you can ever make them drop their sword and shield or some really important artifact, but most of the time, yeah, you're just stealing their lance and giving your thing a lance, killing their thing, and then you get to pick up their lance right away. And then this thing's sitting there ready to block. Like, yeah, you're so right. There's like 4 effects on this card for 3 mana. It's so powerful.
That's insane. Now, I must say that our community that draft all the time and play limited all the time, like, I've been beaten so many times because of this card that I also learned to really think about it, and not because if you get blown out by Shameless Squire, it can cost you the game. It is that brutal of a card. So I learned to adjust to it, and then if you play perfectly against it, then it is doable, then it is fine. But even like there's so much that you have to take into consideration. So I think it has dropped down a little bit, but just because there's all this knowledge, you have to know how to deal with this card.
All right, so Swindler Troop is next. That is 3 mana, 2 water threshold for a 3 power minion. It's an ordinary mortal, and it has Genesis. Give another nearby allied minion stealth. So this is a very important card to the format as well. I give it a B minus. Yeah, just giving one of your minions stealth, even if it's for that turn where it can attack something that it wouldn't have had a good attack on, or they had a bunch of good blockers or something. That's really good. And then if you just give the stealth to something that has like some ability like the Redbreast Robin or something, it makes that card really hard to deal with. I guess stealth got nerfed a little bit. We should talk about that. Like if you cast a spell, that's not really relevant, but if you activate an ability, I guess that's not really relevant either. I don't know. I guess stealth didn't really get nerfed that much for limited. Yeah, this card's still just amazing even after the rule change. So 3 mana, 3 power, give something stealth. Amazing card. I give it a B minus.
Yeah, I agree on the B minus, and I find it very difficult to give ordinary cards like B level, because also here it's really balanced with the 2 water thresholds. But the fact that you can choose to give something stealth at a certain given time is so powerful. Like, how many times did I had to think about, okay, this bigger minion attacks, but like, is there something going on? What will it do? It's a bit iffy, so I will take this damage just to be on the safe side, because then I can deal with it anyway the turn after, and then they just give it stealth, and it's like, oh, god damn it, they got me. Yeah, I think Swindler Troop is amazing.
Yeah, I guess like, yeah, C is like I'll play this card like pretty much all the time, but it might get cut. And then C plus for me is like, I'm pretty happy to play this card. Like I'm basically never cutting it. And then B- is like, I will take this card pretty high. Like excited to see this even like 4th, 5th pick, you know?
If I have to play 6 Ritter Troops in my deck, no problem. I would happily take them. Okay, then that brings us to Helpful Hop, a 4 mana, 1 part minion with 2 water threshold. It's an ordinary fairy with a Genesis ability, untap an adjacent ally. So we are not talking constructed, this is limited. I think the card is bad, I don't like it. I understand that there are some cases that you can take a step, untap and kill something else, but the risk is way too high. It is also super expensive, and it would have been a different deal if it would have been 3 power, then of course it would have been good, but only with the 1 power I would give it a D-. Never play with this one. There are just better cards to have interaction with the board.
Yeah, so I have this as a D. So this is an interesting card to talk about the quadrant theory, because I know some people think that this card is good. So we should explain why it's not good. So quadrant theory is a way to evaluate cards. So there's 4 quadrants. They are when you're ahead, when you're behind, when you're at parity with your opponent, and then when you're developing your board. So let's start with when you're ahead. So when you're ahead, this card can be good because, you know, if they have nothing in play, then you can use like a 3 power minion to attack twice with it. And then you have a 1 power minion left on board. Like, that's fine. It's still not that amazing even. Like, I would rather just have like a 4 mana, 3 power minion even in place of this. Like, that's just going to get you farther ahead than getting 3 extra damage in for a turn. And then when you're behind, this really does not help you very much at all. Like what are you doing with this to like stabilize the board? Like, it's a 1 power minion. So untapping is not going to stabilize the board. There's no way. And then when you're at parity, like for the most part, when you're at parity, you're just like trading your resources for their resources, or trying to, like if this had a lance or something, like that's really good at parity. But this thing, just untapping something's not really going to do much at parity. You're usually just going to untap your avatar or something. And then when you're developing your board is pretty horrible too. Like if turns 2 and 3, you traded off a bunch of resources, and then turn 4, this is your only play. Again, you're just using this to like untap your avatar, and this is just like a 4 mana land surveyor. Like, that is such a horrible card. So I really don't understand why anyone would put this in a deck. I will never put this in a deck. You have to be so aggro and have a bunch of really big bodies and need a 24th card or something to ever put this in a deck. And it's just never met that bar for me. Okay, Kingswood Poachers. 4 mana, 1 water threshold, 3 power. It's an exceptional mortal. It has stealth, and it has Genesis. Search a spellbook for up to 3 beasts, banish them, then shuffle. So technically you could target yourself. Like, if you only had 21 playable cards and you had like 3 Thieving Magpie in your deck or something, maybe you could target yourself with this. But for the most part, you're just going to target your opponent and hope that they have like brown bears or wyverns or I don't know, Lake of Fangs or Storeworm. Yeah. Some like crazy targets that you can just take out of their deck. So this is a very good card. The stealth really matters. I think to new players, seeing like a 4 mana 3 power minion, you might not think that that's very good, but the other abilities on this really matter, and a 3 power minion matters a lot too. So this is a lot that you get for 4 mana. So I give this a B-. Might be a C+.
I think 3-part minions with stealth are good, like Band of Thieves or Swinder Troops that give stealth. This is just a good card. So even if it would just be 4 mana with only 1 water threshold, would be playable. I don't think I would play 5 of these ones, but I would not mind to have 1 or 2 in my deck just without the effect. But then you get this crazy effect, which not only can you scout your opponent's deck, which might be relevant just to count how many finishes he have or whatever, but then you actually see what all the cards that he has, but you just remove all the best beasts, or you leave the... So I also see some players always taking 3 beasts. Like, sometimes I leave
Oh yeah.
Red Breast Robin in the deck.
Yeah.
Like if it's like turn 6/7, then sure you can have it. So you don't have to do it. But if you can remove the brown bears, whatever. So yeah, I think Kingswood Poachers is definitely C plus for me.
Okay.
Then we come to the Lake Efang. Still don't know how to pronounce this card. 4 mana for a 3-part minion with 2 water thresholds, an ordinary beast with lethal and submerge. I like this card. I think it's well balanced. It's a bit expensive, definitely with the 4 mana and the 2 thresholds, so you really have to be deep in water to play this confidentially. It hits hard or hard enough with 3 power, but this is more for me a defensive card against bigger minion. It makes me feel safe. It has submerged, doesn't happen a lot. So yeah, I think this card is completely on point. I'm more an aggressive player, so I rather have 4 mana for 4 power, and the lethal doesn't always makes a big difference. But I don't mind playing it at all. So for me, this is like a very solid C.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's somewhere between C and C plus for me as well. I was pretty low on this card to start, but it's totally fine, and it trades for anything and all the things that you said. Snowball is next. 5 mana, 2 water threshold, exceptional magic. Shoot a piercing projectile. It picks up all other units along its path and carries them with it. When it stops, units there take damage equal to the number of units in the snowball. I think this was a card that earlier in the format is probably better because no one's really playing around it, but now that Lava Flow exists and Snowball and Burning Hands and Magic Missiles and like there's a lot of projectiles and stuff in this set. Like Beta had more like target anywhere, like bury and drown, that kind of stuff. But line of sight is really important. So like lining your stuff up is not something that people tend to do anymore. And so I think because of that, it's dropped a little bit. I think I used to have it maybe as like a B- level removal spell, but now I have it as like a C+, but I also don't really want to have like more than one of these probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, as you say, like the times I've been beaten by a huge snowball, you learn to play around it or think about it at the very minimum. On the other hand, it's always also not that easy to avoid. So snowball is still a powerful card. I really love it to have one in the deck. And it often can really kill 2 minions of your opponent just because you can also sacrifice your own minions if you have to, if you really have to deal the damage. And it also deals damage to your opponent's avatar. So sometimes it really can also deal 4 damage to your opponent and wiping out 2 of his minions. So I think Snowball is a very good card. It also has the extra benefits to when you're behind and the other avatar is moving, approaching you, you can also use it to throw him back to the other side of the realm, which can gives you a bit of time. I would give Snowball C+ to B-.
Okay.
Then we come to the other Fomorians, which is the Murid Fomorians, 7 mana for 6 power, 2 water threshold, exceptional giant burrowing submerged. I was thinking, like, is this different than the Dirium Fomorian? Not for me. I don't think they're really the same minion. As we discussed last time, they're just too expensive. Like, you want to have the cards in play, but once you get there, a lot of history is already on the board, and the impact is not that high enough. So still a C for me.
Yep, I gave it a C. Yeah, I guess if you build your deck in a way that you can get to this amount of mana reliably. I mean, the Earth one, I guess, is probably technically a little bit better just because Kettletop Leprechaun exists. But yeah, it's still just too slow. But if you have like 4 Leprechauns or something, then you could probably play this and it'll be quite good. Okay, Air is next. We start out with...
And perhaps to give a little nuance to newer players. So in the beginning, I see players like, hey, I have these 7 mana cards, but you have a spell slinger, and they would just draw side after side just to get to that 7 mana. Well, you are giving up a lot of spells for this because you will not get those sides back, and your passive ability of your avatar is to draw sides. So that's why we are saying like it only hits the board on turn 10 because we really do not want just to draw sides because we have one for more, and that then hopefully takes over the game. That doesn't happen. You give 3 spells up for this. Yeah, so just as a small nuance.
All right, Ominous Owl. 1 mana, 1 air threshold for a 1 power minion. It's an ordinary beast. It has airborne, and it has you may cast minions to this site. I give it a D-.
Agree. Never played with this. Come to cast into exile a 2 mana exceptional magic of 2 air thresholds, which says shuffle target minion occupying an allied site into its owner's spellbook. When I was at the first event, I had 2 of these, and I was like, whoa, this is like a cheap bury. Yes, it goes into the deck, and yes, it might come back, but it is off the board, it is not there. Basically, you can kill any minion for 2 mana. What? That's crazy. Now, I came completely back on this, because actually now I don't like the cards anymore, because the minion has to be on your side of the board. And that is such a huge impact, way bigger than I would ever imagine, because having that cost into exile in my hand makes me that I fall behind, because if I'm pushing and suddenly I have a cost into exile, the card doesn't do anything, and so then there is a chance that it goes the other way around. Now, just saying cost into exile, it is a fine card. If your opponent has big minions and you get overrun, then you're happy to play it, but it's only in that scenario. So I'm giving cost into exile a C-. I never play with the card anymore unless I really have to fill a gap.
Okay. Yeah, I had it at C+, but honestly, after hearing you talk about this, I do agree. I probably am way too high on this card, and yeah, early on it is really exciting to see 2 mana kill anything. Like, whoa, that's nuts. But yeah, I can't deal the death blow, and yeah, they have to be on your side, so they've already hit you with it. It's amazing when you're behind, but it's really bad when you're ahead. And air is like a pretty aggressive element, so this isn't really the card that it wants anyway. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, Castle Servants. This is the air version of the family cycle. 2 mana, 2 power, provides air threshold. We give this a C. Enough said.
Yep. Then we come to Fine Courser, 2 mana for a 1-part minion, an exceptional beast of 1 air threshold, which says charge, movement +1, may carry an ally. This is a difficult card. I think Fine Courser is a good card because, again, movement is very good and it can carry an ally. So, again, with a lot of cards, the interaction is very good with things that just ranged minions, you can move them around, like, it's good. But the Fine Courser is only 1 power, so the effect is not high, so you really have to have its effect from the situation on the board, which is a bit different than the Warhorse. The Warhorse can deal 2 damage, which is more than enough. So I give Fine Courser a C, I think. I'm okay to put 1 in the deck, but it really has to work well with my other cards.
Yeah, I give it a C as well. I think in a vacuum, it's probably still a C. Like, you're just going to have some, like, 3 or 4 power minions that the movement is going to be good, and you're going to be able to get a 1-for-1 with it, or a 2-for-1, and you're left with the Fine Courser, which isn't really worth a card. Yeah, it's very flexible. Like, you can run away with it. You can move towards your enemy, and then, yeah, ranged minions it's super good with. So it's kind of like a build around card. The more things like that you have in your deck. All right, Hider Sprites. This is 2 mana, 1 air threshold, 2 power minion, ordinary fairies, and it has Genesis, name a spell. Spells with that name can't be cast until your next turn. So I think the only combo with this really is Lookout, which you get to see your opponent's hand, but you also have to like draw these at the same time for that to really work, or you draw this maybe a couple turns later and you still know a card or two in their hand. But like they can still cast the spell the next turn. So it doesn't really stop anything from happening in reality. And then if you're naming blind, you have like a 1% chance of naming something that's relevant, but I would just name like Burning Hands if they're playing fire, and Magic Missiles if they're playing air or something like that. Whatever you can think of that's like the most impactful ordinary that they might have in their hand is what I would name. But this basically never does anything. I give it a D+.
Yeah, same. I think any other 2-part minion is better than this one. I give it a C-, D+. It's more same. Yeah. Then we come to Magic Missiles. 2 mana for an ordinary magic of 1 air threshold, which says shoot 3 projectiles in the same direction, 1 at a time, each deal 1 damage. So this is firebolts, but then in air. I think Magic Missiles is amazing. It has so many different applications. Like you can try to force a trade. If they block, you can, because they moved, you can magic missile their bigger minions. It just straight up kills a 3-part minion. If it's annoying you, like boss troll, that's the best answer to it. You can deal 3 damage to 2 minions and then fire a Redbreast Robin over it, dealing that 1 extra damage and killing 2 minions. Magic Missiles is amazing. 2-3 my deck, always happy. So I would give it a solid B.
All right. Yeah, I give it a B-, but yeah, B is perfectly fine for this card. Yeah, like you said, super flexible, tons of applications, deals death blows, gets 2-for-1s, gets really solid 1-for-1s. Yeah.
What else do you want?
Pretty much. Power of Flight. This is 2 mana, 1 air threshold for an ordinary magic. Give an allied minion airborne until your next turn. Draw a spell. To note, I don't think I've ever seen someone defensively use a Power of Flight, but it gives you airborne until your next turn. So you can actually like put this on a 3-power minion and then just pass the turn, and then they'll attack, and you can actually just block with this thing. Like you can kind of surprise people and blow them out if they don't know that this card can do that. So keep an eye out for when you have that opportunity. But often this is just 2 mana draw card. But a lot of the time it's a lot better than that. So it's situational, but the fail case is so high that it's a perfectly reasonable card. I give it a C. I'll play it in a lot of the decks.
Yeah, I wasn't too high on this card, but I know some like players that I consider the best of Europe that consistently play with these cards, and that got me thinking, like, why are they doing this? And it's again because of that movement thing. Like, you do not expect a lumbering giant suddenly attacking diagonally. And it is a cantrip, so you draw your cards, it kills tooth fairies, pixies, the birds, etc. So I'm not going to a B-, but I definitely give it a C+. It is so versatile, it's always useful. In worst case, it just draws you the card. So I think you have to be smart about it and are really good in positioning your minions, and then like it could be a free kill spell basically. So, but you have to know how to navigate into that situation. Then we come to Sherwood Huntress, a 2 mana 2-part minion with ranged. She is an ordinary mortal with 1 air threshold. I thought this card was the best 2-drop there is, but ranged is not that amazing. I mean, it's decent, it's okay, but like ranged, you see it on the board, you play around range, you have to, because otherwise you will lose the game very quickly. So I think it's okay. Sherwood Huntress is just a C to C- for me, probably just a C.
Okay. Yeah, I think C is pretty fair for this. There are those little combos, like if you have movement abilities, then range gets a lot better. So watch out for that. But yeah, this isn't as amazing as it looks. I agree.
Yeah, but then with the movement, it is only a two-part minion. So there, the 2 and 3 is a bit different. But
Yeah. Sisters of Avalon, 2 mana, 1 air threshold, a 1 power minion. It's an exceptional mortal, and it has Spellcaster and Genesis, discard a spell, draw a spell. So one trick that you can do with this is you can, if you have no spells in hand, you can discard nothing and still draw a spell with it. But it's also just a 2 mana, 1 power minion. So not really excited about that. I guess like if I was like super low on playables and I had like 3 other like really bad cards in my deck, then I'd be a little bit more interested in this, but I'm never getting to that point where I'm scrapping this low for playables. Yeah, this is not the same as draw a spell, and by the time your hand is empty, like the game is going to be over, and like paying 2 mana for a 1 power minion is not what you want to be doing at that stage in the game. And like drawing extra sites so that this has nothing to discard is also like you're not up on cards really at that point. So yeah, I give this a D.
yeah. In the idea of only put good cards in your deck, so you only play with good cards, like discarding a spell to draw a spell, that is not really an effect that I love to see. So I agree. Like if it would be a 2-part minion, then the card would be amazing. But just being a spellcaster, that's not sufficient. So D. Yep. Then we come to tactical move, a 2 mana ordinary magic of 1 air threshold, which says 1 at a time. Each ally takes up to 2 steps. So the thing is, I don't find room for this card anymore in my deck. But every time that I played with it, it often is really, really good. So yeah, I'm a bit confused about this card because I want to play with it, but yeah, I just think damage is more relevant because if I need to kill my opponent on that zero, I want to. So that is the prime reason that I don't put it in my deck anymore. But the card is actually good. Like all your minions have movement; they can all surprise your opponent in various ways, etc. So yeah, I think tactical move is a C. I think.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm in the same place. Like, I did play it recently where I first picked a Seer. It was 1 pack of beta, 2 packs of Arthurian Legends. I first picked Seer, or I got past Seer, like pick 2 or something for some reason. And then I was like really low on playables, and I played Tactical Move, and it was like so good with Seer, especially, I think, because like it's a card that's either great or it's terrible. So if you have Seer and you can scry it away, like that is such a nice little combo with it. But yeah, for the most part, I don't usually have room in my deck for this either. It is really good when it's good, but it's only good when you're ahead. So that's just, I value flexibility a lot. Cards that are good both when you're ahead and behind. It's why we like minions a lot, because you can just always play them and they're always relevant. Tactical move just isn't always relevant, and for that reason, I give it a D+. Tooth Fairies is next. 2 mana, 1 air threshold for a 2 power minion. It's an exceptional fairy. It has airborne, and at the start of your turn, tap target nearby enemy. So like you said, this is probably the best 2-drop in the whole set, outside of like Sir Tom Thumb or something. Yeah, this is just pretty amazing. Being able to tap something is very relevant. Like if you're trying to get the death blow in, or even just trying to get damage in, or trying to kill their minion and making sure they don't have blockers, stuff like that. Like obviously they see this on the board, but they have to play around it, which is a pretty huge cost. Like they might just not attack with something because they need to have 2 units untapped so that you don't just blow them out. So yeah, Tooth Fairies is super powerful. I give it a B.
I agree. I think this is the best. Well, I think Warhorse is on the same level, but this is the one that you really want to cast on turn 2 because it's very safe. But I think the effect that you always step their best minion, or just in a, if they want to have a defensive position, that you will always be able to just nullify their best minion, that is just insane. That the card in itself puts your opponent on the back foot by default. which is it's different than the other one, the Pixie that untaps. Tooth Fairy is crazy strong, and it's in an aggressive deck. It really can, if you want to overtake your opponent quickly. Tooth Fairy is what it does. So I agree. I give it a solid B. The only thing is it is easily killable with the magic missiles and the burning hands, and that really balances out that card. So. But on the expectations of a 2-mana card, Tooth Fairies is just very, very strong. Okay, Whirlwinds is the next card. It is 2 mana for an exceptional magic of 1 air threshold. It says choose clockwise or counterclockwise. Each unit and artifact atop sides in a 2x2 area is pushed 1 step in that direction. I like the concept of the card. It turns everything. Is it good? It's a bit like Let Astray. I guess it's a bit better than Let Astray, and in Constructed it can help you push stuff from the Gnome Hollows, etc. I never played with it in Limited. I think honestly that it's okay. Like, you can really manipulate. It's a surprise. You will get your value out of the card. But I honestly, don't think I ever played with the card. I just have better cards in the deck, or this is what I assume. So I would give Whirlwind a D plus to C minus probably.
Okay. Yeah, I give it a D. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play this. And you're so right. Like, this is actually just better than Led Astray, I think. Which I think I gave a D, but Led Astray I've actually seen people play, and Whirlwind I have not. I'm not really sure why that is, but anyway, just don't play with it. Attack by Night, 3 mana, 1 air threshold, exceptional magic. Enemies drop their artifacts. Allied units strike first this turn. I give this a D minus. I don't know. I've never played. Maybe I've actually put this in a deck and been very disappointed with it. Like, the magics that draw a card and the magics that don't draw a card are so different than each other. Like, the ones that do these weird things, like, obviously if they kill something, that's a different story, but like, it's really hard to get a 1-for-1 with this, and that's a card that's just not very exciting.
Yeah, we will talk about Vanishment in some time, but Vanishment draws you a card. Attack by Night doesn't. So it is really, you have to have it of its effect. So I think in the best case, you can give my 3-part minion first strike and it can kill your 3-part minion. So then it's like a bury effect, but that just doesn't happen that much. And then if that's the case, why don't I just play a Squire, which is an Ordinary, which is then better? Because I still have a body on the boards and enemies drop their... anyway, I never seen this play. I agree. I give it a solid D. Then we come to Band of Thieves, 3 mana for 3 power, 2 air threshold, an ordinary mortal will stealth. This is also like a baseline card, 3 mana for 3, that's what you want. It has stealth, which is one of the more stronger mechanics of Arthurian Legends. I give Band of Thieves, because of the threshold, a C+. I think the card is very good, but you're heavily committed to air, of course.
Yeah, I give it a C+ as well. I think it's just one step below Harassing Ruffians and Swindler Troop. It's not quite as effective as that, but yeah, stealth is very relevant, so very good card. Not going to cut it very often. I had a deck with 5 Band of Thieves and a Spark Mage. That was really fun. Okay, next we have Castle Haunt. 3 mana, 1 air threshold for a 4 power minion. 3 mana for 4 power. May be cast to any elite or unique site, and it dies if it leaves its summoning site. So this card's pretty horrible. They can just avoid the site that you put this on, because you're going to be putting it on your site basically all the time. And you can put it on any of your sites. It doesn't have to be an elite or unique site if it's on your site. So it can kind of like turn any of your sites into like a troll bridge, kind of. But that's not really worth a card. So I have this as D-, only because you can sometimes get lucky and they'll have an elite or unique site and you can put it on there, but I've literally never seen that happen. So otherwise I would just give this an F.
It's a straight F.
Yeah.
You don't want to put it in your deck just to have that one
Yeah.
chance in 100 games that you can cast on their elite side. This is for me a 100% constructed card. In constructed cards, it's potentially a B to B minus, I think, but in limited, no way that this sees any play. And if you want to be that defensive, no, just no. Then we come to Vanishment, a 3 mana exceptional magic for 2 air threshold, which says give all allied minions stealth and then draw a spell. Now, when we talk about cantrips, so spells that let you draw a spell, by default they are good because they replace themselves. What you want is a 2 mana cantrip, that's okay. You find 2 mana somewhere to just get your card back if you really want to. So overall, Vanishment, just by drawing a spell, is a decent card, a bit of the expensive card. But then let's talk about the actual effect, the actual card, which is give all allied minions stealth. It is a sneaky card, Vanishment, because I think it's completely underrated. Once you play with it, and you have to play or build your deck a bit, so this is more for me an aggressive card. If you can give your 3 minions stealth, that is a potential of 6 to, let's say, 10 damage. That is stealth, unblockable damage, which is crazy. Vanishment let me win one of the drafts, the easiest of all, because everything was untargetable and stealth. I think Vanishment is very strong, but you have to keep it in mind and build towards it. I give Vanishment a solid B.
Okay. Yeah, I put it as a C plus, but build around B. But yeah, if you're putting this card in your deck, you should have, I think, at least 17 minions. You probably want to have like 17 to 19 minions or something. But if I'm being honest with myself, I've been putting it in my deck at a level of like C minus. Like I keep cutting it because I just find it really hard to like cut a removal spell for this. And like cutting minions to put Banishment in doesn't make sense to me, because then it's like, well, I want to have as many minions as possible to play Banishment. But yeah, you should convince me to just put this in my deck. I just need to try it out, and I'm sure once I do, I'll reevaluate and have it a lot higher.
It is really way stronger than it looks. And the thing is, like, I have my 70 million 7 spells there. That's just for simplicity reasons how we divide this. And then you want to have 7 good spells. But sometimes you have like 6 good spells, removal, etc. We all like removal and movement. But then we have that one extra slot, and that one extra slot could be the helmet, for instance, which is an amazing card, a Shadow Strike. But that Vanishment, it's like it doesn't do damage directly. So you really have to be focused. Like if you put this in your deck, you really have to know when to play it, and if you play it right, the advantage is way higher than just dealing damage. So yeah, I really like the card.
All right. Next we have Weightless Squire. This is 3 mana, 1 air threshold for a 1 power minion. It's an ordinary mortal, but it's also a fairy, it turns out. It has Airborne and Lance. Yeah, I play this all the time. Yeah, I'll cut it if I have too many Lances in my deck, but so I guess I don't take it as high as I probably would otherwise, because you really only want like 1, maybe 2 of these in your deck, because it's not one of the best squires. So it's like a C.
Yeah, I would love to take the Shameless Squire or the Reckless Squire above Weightless Squire, but if I haven't seen them, if I don't have them, I don't mind to have 2 of these ones in my deck, but they are less good. The only benefit that I could see is perhaps against the Robin, where it can also attack it or defend it, and just defending diagonally has its upside, so but it's not good enough. It's the lesser of the 3. Then we come to Arc Lightning, which is a 4 mana ordinary magic spell of 2 air threshold, so it's a highly committal to air, and it deals 4 damage to target nearby unit. I think Arc Lightning is very strong. It makes me feel safe. I can kill lumbering giants, and yes, it has to be a nearby unit, so sometimes your avatar will need to take 1 step forward. but the effect would just have to, yeah, most of the time it's just removal of anything that is really annoying, and there are some very annoying minions. So yeah, I think B minus is probably too high because of the two air thresholds, but I would certainly give it a C, high C plus, and I don't mind putting three in my deck because once you get into a advantage position, you can actually start killing your opponent and just shooting at him because it is that much damage.
Yeah, I have it at B minus, but yeah, it is between C plus and B minus. Like it's not as good as brown bears, but yeah, it's very flexible. It kills pretty much anything you want, and it's a little expensive if you're killing like a 3-power minion with it, but yeah, it's pretty hard to cut an arc lightning.
Well, in regards to feeling, I put it at the same as a brown bear.
Yeah.
But it can actually kill a brown bear.
Yeah. Keening Banshee, 4 mana, 2 air threshold for a 3-power minion. It's an ordinary spirit. It may be cast for 0 if an allied mortal died this turn. To note, you still have to meet the threshold requirement. So there are a lot of mortals. They do die. A lot of them are 1 power, like the squires you play all the time. But it doesn't really come up very often. Like a lot of the times your minions are just dying on your turn. And you're not going to want to like throw away a minion to save 4 mana to cast this or something. So every once in a while it'll be amazing when it's 0 mana for a 3-power minion, but like 80% of the time or something, you have to actually end up spending the 4 mana for this, and then it's just quite bad. It's like a C minus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So here what makes it bad is you have to have the 2 thresholds, which is not that easy. So it can also not happen before turn 2, of course, and potentially turn 3, because first you have to kill a minion. And so if we could compare it to the other elements, because this is the 4 mana slots, we have the brown bears, we have the lumbering giants, which are both of them 4 power, which is way better than a Keening Banshee's 3 power. And then from water we have the Lakefang, which is the submerged, that doesn't matter, but the lethal does matter because it can trade up. And a Keening Banshee, like if you have to play this card for 4 mana, it is really terrible. So I always cut it. I never play with this card, and I give it a solid D plus probably.
So now we're gonna move on to the elemental knights, the 2 element ones. So I guess I'll cover the first 4. So there's blue knight, purple knight, verdant knight, yellow knight. I don't think they're really any different from each other. So they are 3 mana, and then there's 2 different thresholds. So one of them is like fire, air, for example. And they are 3 power, 2 defense power, and they all come with a lance. So these are pretty important cards. They're splashable. I tend to splash for them when I can. I give them like a B minus.
Black Knight, 5 mana for a 5 power and 3 defense minion. It is an exceptional mortal of 1 fire and 1 water threshold, and it says cost 2 less to cast if you have more life than each opponent. So the idea is that this is your beat down guy. If you are on the play, you got damage in, and you can cast this for 3. That is a scary minion to have 5/3. That is what the tale says, and it seems good. But if we compare it to his other brother, the White Knight, there is a very, very big difference in power level. So the strange thing about the Black Knight is that it only has 3 life, which makes it is, for me, very similar to a 3-part minion. I mean, a 3-part minion is annoying. You have to deal with it. You have to kill it. You can kill it with lances, etc. This is completely 100% the same for the Black Knight. You can kill it with lances. If you have a magic missiles, you can just outright kill it. So Black Knight, I would say it is okay. I mean, it can kill bigger minions like sea giants, etc. So I would say Black Knight is a C to a C plus. I am not super high on it. It is okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. C plus sounds about right to me. Okay, White Knight is the next one. So as you said, much better. This one is Earth Air for 5 mana. You get a 3/5. and it's an exceptional mortal, and it costs 2 less if you have less life than each opponent. Yeah, so this one's better on the draw. You also have some control over how much life you have, so maybe you just don't block at some point if you know that you have this in hand and you can just play it for really cheap. So that's quite an advantage, and 3/5 is so much better than 5/3. Yeah, this survives arc lightning, it survives fire breathing, it even survives like the second step of the lava flow. Like 5 is a really important number here, and 3 power still kills most of the units. So yeah, much better. So we gave Black Knight a C plus. I think White Knight we could give a B.
I agree. I am completely stoked about White Knight. I think I pick it highly. I think it is also a potential first pick. It is that good, and the reason is very simple. I think there's a lot of chatter in sorcery being on the play or on the draw. It's a bit like in chess. When you're on the play, you have a real advantage. And I think a White Knight is one of these rare cards that can actually do something about it. Because if you are on the draw and you are behind because your opponent is kicking you so aggressively, if you can cast this for 3 mana, even if it's not turn 3, even on turn 5, it lets you double cast, etc. Or with another spell, you have 2 on the same turn. Like White Knight is so strong and good. So I definitely agree on a B for sure. And honestly, taking damage, it's not that difficult. I mean, your opponent wants to deal damage, and sometimes like, oops, no, I will not block. I take a little bit of damage, and you're just ahead. Yeah, I think White Knight is definitely a solid B.
Yeah, the only knock against it is that it turns out like earth and air are the 2 worst elements. So I honestly don't really take this first pick just because of that reason. It's just, multi-element cards are already kind of sketchy to take first pick. But the good news is that you can splash for this if you're one of those 2 elements, and that makes it pretty flexible still. So maybe I should be first picking this when I see it.
But it's funny that you mention it, because that is the reason why you can pick them, and people haven't figured out, or they all know, but because of the reason you're saying, they let it slide. And so it's often that you can still second, third, fourth pick a White Knight. I always take it, honestly. And yeah, I think it is completely splashable. I mean, you are in air or in earth often. Yeah, the card is so strong. So yeah. So everybody, don't listen to this. Just keep it open. Give me the White Knights. I'll be happy.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to artifacts. Do you want to start with the first one, or should I do it?
You can start. It's
okay.
Fine.
Cold Iron Rod is first. You're not missing out on anything here. It's an exceptional relic, and it says that fairies are disabled here. So there's not that many fairies. Even if there were, this would be pretty horrible anyway. Yeah, I give it an F. Never put this in a deck.
Completely agree. I think we don't know how Sorcery will evolve, so if ever this is a sideboard card, actually, there is absolutely no reason to put it in your deck. So
maybe the collection will make this playable. Put this as one of your collection cards.
We'll see. I don't believe it. I think there are better spots to take. So anyway, then we come to the 4-berry knots. Also 1 mana exceptional relic. A bear minion takes no damage from units with 4 or more power, and is also a fairy. Now, the effect of the card is actually quite good. I mean, there are giants everywhere. You have a lot of minions that have 4 or more power. But just the fact that it's a relic is so dangerous to play because of Shameless Squires, because of the Shatter Strike, etc. So I don't dare to play with it. But I know that if you cannot get rid of this card, it really gives you a huge advantage, actually. So I never play with it. So for me, it really gets a D. Although the cards, if you are certain that your opponent cannot remove it, then it's definitely a C plus to a B minus. It's that strong as a defensive card, but of course you never know. So just completely unplayable to me.
Yeah, I give it an F. I've never played this card. Just a rock. 1 mana for an ordinary relic. It may be cast into the hands of any unit already carrying an artifact to banish that artifact. Yeah, this is an F. There's just not enough relics. Getting rid of a lance is not worth a card. So yeah, just don't play this card.
It's a bit strange to talk about Sorcery nostalgia already, but I do remember this card when it was revealed, and I was also all giddy. Like the concept of the card, it's funny.
Yeah.
There's so many puns that you can do, like hey, just a rock, and also here it's like hey, just a rock. So I completely agree. Complete F. Never play with it, although I really like the concept of the cards. Then we come to Bailey, I don't know.
Bailey,
Okay. 3 mana for an exceptional monument that protects your home. Enemies cannot move to here on the ground. So this is one of those beginner's traps. The only thing that it does, it just gains time. That's the only thing, because enemies can move around it. They're not stupid. So it gives you 1 to 2 turns. It delays a little bit. So in Constructed, that's another thing. Perhaps even when the sets go bigger and the card pool becomes bigger, perhaps this can potentially be a very strong card, but in Limited, never play with this. Complete F. I never play with it.
yeah, basically any minion with any abilities can get around this, like Submerge, Burrowing, Airborne, just damage effects, like Teleport even, I think, gets around this, if there's a way to do that. But yeah, I give this an F as well. Sword and Shield. All right, another controversial one. So we can finally talk about it. So 3 mana for an exceptional artifact. It's a weapon and armor for Bonfire, that matters. Bear has +2 power. So you give your thing a Sword and Shield, it has +2 power. You really have to make, I think, a big attack. The turn that you play this, it needs to like immediately get a 1-for-1, and then you can't. I think you just can't play this without ways to get it back. I basically never play this card. I rated a C-, but then you talked to me a little bit about this card, and I know you've been trying to combo it with like Shameless Squires and Shatter Strike. So if you do have a way to get the shield back in case they take it, because the whole game is just going to revolve around the Sword and Shield as soon as it's in play. Everyone just wants to take control of it, and if you gain control of it and keep it for multiple turns, you probably just won the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you give it C-?
So yeah, I give it a C-. Maybe like a builder on B- is what I have, because if you have Sly Foxes and you have Shameless Squires and those things, like I get it, you can make it work.
So the thing is, like I've had so many things with these cards, and in the beginning I thought it was really bad, but really like I didn't play it, and then I started testing it, and what I found out is actually it is not as bad as I thought. But you have to be smart about it. So the thing is, like, if you can imagine that your opponent cannot remove this card, then they have a big issue. Like 2 power to any minion, not any minion, but you can pass it around. So, and it can start killing your opponent's minions. So if I play a Sword and Shield, I always want to kill a minion. But then if you think like, okay, my 2-part minion becomes a 4-part minion, and thus it can kill their 3-part minion, that's fine. But there is no difference between a lance. They will, because my 2-part minion with a lance can also kill the 3-part minion, so they will think about it. So it is more that you potentially can trade in your 2-part minion and kill their 4-part minion, and then have a way to pick up the Sword and Shield again. That is an option. If you put it on airborne minions, it is quite strong from the start, but you really have to be careful to not lose it. So that's also a reason why Shameless Squire is so high on my list, because it really facilitates me playing these kind of cards. Because just telling like I will not play Sword and Shield because I lose it, I will lose the game, that's a bit too narrow, because the card in itself is actually very good. So I would say I would give it a high C+ actually. But you really have to be careful, and I would say, like, if you're a beginner, do not play this on turn 3. So just keep it to turn 6, where like all removal spells and all the things already have happened, like he casts a lightning bolt and whatever, and then a sword and shield can really start making that difference, and you will see it immediately to your opponent if they have it in their hand or not a solution, because if they don't, the sword and shield will really take over the game, and that's why I like it. And if you play it to have instant advantage, then it is okay. But yeah, I would say test it out. And sometimes you will lose, and then you can see why, or perhaps you played it a bit too early or a bit too unsafe. But I think Sword and Shield definitely is potential a very, very good card.
Okay.
Very good cards. It's definitely a high C+.
Okay.
And then we come to the last one in the list is Iron Man Talus. It's a 4 mana exceptional automation. It cannot be disabled or moved by force. Basically, it is just a 4 mana 3-part minion. It's too expensive to my taste, so I never have room for this in my deck. I just give it a C-.
Okay. Yeah, I give it a D+, but
Or D+.
honestly, I guess it should be a C- because I think I gave Keening Banshee a C-, so this is basically just better than that. I don't know.
It's still a 3-part minion. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, it's okay, but it's just a bit expensive.
All right, and then we come to our sites. Okay, so we're going to start with Briar Patch. This is an exceptional site. It provides Earth Threshold, so I'm going to go through the elements. So it'll be Earth, Fire, Water, Air. So this one's Earth. It's exceptional, and it says whenever an enemy unit enters or leaves this site, it takes 1 damage. This site has been a lot better than I expected it to be. It's actually a pretty powerful defensive site. Things can just trade up because of it. Things with extra movement, like it takes damage when it enters or leaves the site. That's really important. It's only for the enemy's minions, not your minions. And all that stuff stacks up really well. So I give this a C+. And I should say, like, the ratings for the sites, like, you're going to play all of them, basically, because they're all just better than just, like, a standard site, unless it doesn't provide threshold. But really, the rating is just, like, next to all the other cards that we've rated, where do I take this? So I give it a C+.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I follow you on this. I think if I would compare it with Troll Bridge, like what I really love about Troll Bridge is that it protects my minions. I can cast minions on my side, and if they want to attack it, they have a negative effect. It's a bit the same here. Like they get that 1 extra damage, which is not nothing. And also, I always forget it's on the board. And sometimes I can really be surprised by that 1 annoying 1 damage. So yeah, I agree, C+. Then we come to a common village. It's what we know and loved in beta, the common foot soldiers here also. Foot soldiers are just amazing. They're so much better than a value that doesn't do anything. So here I would also say a solid C+.
Yep. Yeah, we said that 1 power minions suck in our last video, but when you just staple it onto a site and you just kind of get it for free, like 1 mana is such a low cost, like, yeah, villages, C+. Yep. Hunter's Lodge is next. This is another Earth site. It's ordinary, and it has Genesis. Enemies lose stealth. I give this a C-, but I'm guessing because of how important stealth is in this set, I could actually be too low on this, but I just don't really take it over like playable spells. They come around kind of late, and stealth doesn't always matter. Like Briar Patch and Common Village, like kind of always matter when they're on the board, and Hunter's Lodge sometimes just does literally nothing. So I give it a C-.
Yeah, I agree. And just the effect is actually quite good. The enemies lose stealth, but the fact is, I will never keep it in my hand just to. I mean, even if I'm against water, which has the highest chance to be stealthy. Like, yeah, I have my 3 opening sides. I pull 1 of the deck, so I have 4. What I'm going to do, force another side to draw just so I can keep my 100 lodge. Never going to happen. So actually, if this card would be just nearby enemies would lose stealth as a permanent effect, then it would be really a good card. But here it's like it rarely has an impact, so C- is even potentially too high, but it's better than a value, of course.
Yeah.
Then we come to the Impenetrable Cops, which is an exceptional site and projectiles can't enter this site from the outside. So I've come up on this card a lot. It is actually quite annoying because it protects you from missiles. Arcane Barrage is probably a bit too far-fetched, that's more in constructed, but it is really annoying. I mean, it really provides you a decent shield to protect you against some very annoying projectiles. So I would say, yeah, you will always play this. So also here, why not a C plus for me, or C?
Okay. Yeah, I actually gave it a C minus. I think sometimes you just don't play this because you have like if you have like 3 magic missiles in your deck, do you still play this card or do you just leave it out of your deck because it might mess you up?
Yeah, but it says projectiles cannot enter, so they can leave. So
Yeah, I guess it's just like sometimes your opponent's things are going to be on your site. Like if their units are on your impenetrable cops, you'd have to move to that site to then kill it with the magic missiles.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I really want to cast it on your avatar. Of course, that's not always. So I would always put it more defensively on the back row, so you can hide against it. So yeah, that's where. So if I would never put it one step forward because then it can backfire. That is really not the objective of this card.
Okay. Pebbled Paths is next. It's an exceptional earth site. And it says minions atop nearby sites lose charge. In Constructed, this sees a lot of play because there's a bunch of charge everywhere, and that's one of the big decks. It's in like every aggressive deck is a bunch of charge minions, but in Limited, there's not many charge minions. I think they're all at exceptional or higher, right? So that's already pretty narrow, and then also they can, like, if this has to be in like the middle of the board to really affect the game, because if it's even one step to the side, they can just put their minions on the other side and still get their charge effect, or they can use charge to just like kill things that are on their side or whatever. So this rarely really has an impact on the board. So I think I give Pebbled Pass like a D minus, C plus, C minus, something like that. D plus, C minus.
Again, it's just extra, right? It's better than a valley, and
Yeah.
like the charge primarily is in fire. So if you're not, you are definitely in earth if you want to play this. So if you are not in fire, I would always play this. Like it really can mess up a reckless squire or whatever, and that is just free. So I think I'm a bit higher. I would just give it just a C. I'm not super excited about it. I rather have soldiers as an effect. But if I don't have charge in my deck, sure, why not?
Yeah, I think like the D level sites are still like you always play them, but they're just not like a high pick. Like I would even take like a C minus level card over this. I mean, maybe I would take this over a C minus, but anyway, it's somewhere in that range.
Sure.
Okay, then, Fire's next. You got it?
Yep. So the first one is the Bonfire, which is an ordinary site. It has a Genesis ability. You may destroy all weapons and armor nearby. Basically, this removes lances. I'm always happy to have this because it's just optional. Often I just cast them to have my red threshold, but yeah, it has proven its worth. I like it. Just give it a C. I don't mind having 3 in my deck because it's just extra, if at all.
Yep, I gave it a C as well. And sometimes you can blow up a sword and shield, but that's not really going to happen ever. Forge, ordinary site, fire, threshold. Genesis, you may pay 1 to conjure a lance token here. This one's tricky. You need to make sure that you actually get the lance. So ideally, you're like playing this, paying the 1, make a lance, play a minion right on top of it. That's the best case scenario. If you have to like move your minion over to grab the lance, I think that's still like worth doing and is okay. But yeah, lances are super important. They have a big impact on the game. So I still give this a C plus, which is the same as I gave Common Village. I think it's pretty much same as that.
I agree. Like a free lance is just for a site. If you can have it, it's just very good. I like it as turn 1. You just give your avatar a lance, and sometimes you don't have the time for it. But even then, once your avatar moves to the battle, it really can give that lands to other stuff. So lands are always good to have. So yeah, definitely C plus for sure. Then the next one is a funeral pyre. It is an exceptional sight which is Genesis, banish up to 3 cards from one cemetery. We all know why this is one of the most played cards in Constructed, just to Archimago, but in Limited there is not much there. So yeah, I just a D. I guess it doesn't matter. I would put it in my deck. It's better than nothing, but I rarely have it do anything.
Yeah, I think like Rescue, and if your opponent's playing Archimago, like they technically can do that in Arthurian Legends Limited, but they shouldn't, honestly, because he's pretty bad. Man, can you imagine ever having 3 magics in your cemetery and like getting Funeral Pyred in Limited when you're playing Archimago? That would be hilarious.
Can you imagine?
But yeah, I give this a D minus. Yeah, it basically never does anything.
I think sometimes if you would play mixed and with beta, you have the zombies that actually come back, the Scourge zombies. So that is potentially, but it's so narrow. So
yeah.
No.
Poisoned Well is next. It's an exceptional sight, fire threshold. It has Genesis. Enemy avatars lose 1 life for each nearby site they control. So it's nearby sites to the Poisoned Well. I think people get confused on that. So if they have 3 sites near the Poisoned Well when you play it, they lose 3 life. So it's just kind of gravy. Usually life isn't the way that you win the game or like get ahead, really. Like you want board presence, but it's certainly a fine card. Like free damage is free damage. So I give this a C.
Well, I would even give it C plus. I mean, if it deals 2 damage for free, yeah, it's 1 extra attack, right? So sure.
Yeah, I think just the tricky thing is like just making sure that you actually get to 24 spells. And if it's not pack 3 and I know I'm getting to 24 spells, like I'm probably taking a C level card over this.
Sure.
But,
yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and the funny thing is, because I love playing with White Knights, it is so funny if they ping me for 1 and then you can just cast it on turn 3. It has happened.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And swings the game. So that's like something to be cautious about if your opponent has an earth and an air side. Perhaps you want to wait a little bit. Anyway, that brings us to water. 4 sides there as well. First one is Babbling Brook. It is an exceptional site with Genesis. Until your next turn, minions are disabled while atop nearby sites. I think it's a balanced card. Of course, here with the rules changes, there is no impact because disabled has not changed. It's actually a very strong ability to get it for free. Because I've had it that my opponent has 2 minions on one side, and then I can actually lock them in and get damage in on the other side, and they stay locked in until my next turn, so it gives me a lot of safety. And honestly, this card has won me the game in the beginning early, just sneaking in extra 6 damage because I have 2 of these things. So I like the card. It is balanced because it will disable everything, also your minions. So yeah, I would give it a C plus, I think, is where I would land.
Yeah, I give it C plus as well. This one will be interesting to talk about. Bog. It's an ordinary site. It has water threshold and it has Genesis. Until your next turn, units are immobile while atop target nearby site. So you play it, you target 1 site. It's either theirs or yours, and then anything there is immobile. So I gave this a C plus because I did that before the rule change, because you could use this to target your own site, and then if they use the move and attack ability to attack your site, they will still move there, but when they get there, they're immobile, which used to mean they can't attack. So then the attack would fizzle. So you could protect your sites with this, or you could target their site that already has a minion on it and stop them from moving or whatever. But now they can still attack. So even if they have a minion on your site and then you bog it, like they can still just attack there with it. So bog got so much worse with this rule change. I haven't done a single draft since the rule change. Haven't played a single game, so hard to say exactly where this is going to land. But I think probably like a C or C minus.
Yeah, we have to see. So before it was very strong, Bog, a very good card. I think now, I think the impact might be less relevant than we might think. So there is definitely a nerf. I mean, they can still attack your side. So if the opponent's minions are not on your side yet, you can still lock them down. If they're your side, you will deal damage. But I think Bog is also about keeping your opponent minions into place and casting a threat next to it, so they cannot escape, and that effect is still there. So we'll have to see. I think I would still give it a C. I think it's still okayish, but you will just now take more damage.
Yeah, I feel like it loses like almost half of its utility. Like targeting your
I don't
own
think
sites,
so.
I think was really important to this card. Um, yeah, I don't
I
know.
think
We'll
it will
see.
be okay, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then we come to Pawns, which is an ordinary site. Genesis, this turn, the next beast cost to this side costs one less, ignoring threshold. This card has gone up, up, and up during the whole year of Arthurian Legends. In the beginning, I didn't notice it, like, yeah, the 1 minion. So I think it's well balanced because you do not always play your pond on where you want to minion to be, and you only get that discard for one if you play that minion there. So sometimes it's a bit annoying in that way. But getting one discast is more than enough to get a real advantage. So that already makes the card a good card. But then we come to that second ability, which is not to be underestimated, which is ignoring thresholds. And this actually makes it so that you can cast your brown bear even if you haven't drawn any of your earth spells, or your wyvern, or your Message to Worm, which is actually 3 water threshold. Like with this guy, if you know it, if you are in the deck, you can keep it on hand, and just if you can play it on turn 5, that is just crazy strong. So yeah, I think Pond is actually very, very good. Would I pick it over Good Minion? No, of course not. But I would go to a C plus for Pond.
Okay. Yeah, I have it at C and then C plus if you're in Earth Water and you have a bunch of beasts. Like Earth Water is the home for this. Yeah, totally agree. Troll Bridge is next. This is the last water site. It is an exceptional site. And it says the first time a lone enemy enters here each turn, strike it unless they discard a card. So this sees a lot of play in Constructed, and it's pretty much just as good in Limited as it is in Constructed. We don't have as much like force movement effects, but we do have like Koinixie. So I think this is just a B minus. I take this pretty high. It can just kill stuff. We don't play like a ton of the force movement stuff. Like we're not going to force it, but you're just going to block an alley with this and it's going to be really good. So yeah, B minus. Where are you at?
I completely at also B minus. I'm very high on the cards, and not because of the direct effect. I mean, nobody just enters and discards a card, but I have done it. I have discarded cards just because I'm in an advantage, and sometimes you just do it. But so that is just the card in itself. But why that I like it is it just gives me so much protection of casting my minions. Like if I cast a 3-part minions and then my opponent has a power of flight and just can kill my 3-part minion, which is very bad of me, at the very minimum they have to discard a card, and that gives so much value in for me to know that probably my minion will survive, and then I have effects for my minions to get on the board and get my advantage. So Troll Bridge is just such a powerful free effect that I value it very high just to protect my minions. And also, I always want to place it one step ahead on 13, because there is where it should be. And then, as you say, like in Constructed, if your enemy has to go around it, it costs them so much time. So yeah, Troll Bridge is amazing.
All right, next is Air. We have Beacon. It's an exceptional site, provides an air threshold. Genesis, gain 1 for each nearby site with an enemy atop it. So it's not as good as Tower, but it's not too far off from that. I mean, really you want the extra mana like early in the game, and this can technically do that, but it's a little bit trickier. It's very good still. I give it a C+.
How often it really gives that one extra mana as minimum, so then it's very similar to the Tar. So yeah, I think it's a solid C, C plus even. The best thing you can do is on turn 3 cast your 4 mana minion. That really swings the game, and this is that facilitates it. So yeah. Then we come to Fey City. It's an exceptional site which says step an allied fairy here, shoot a projectile, it deals 1 damage. I am never impressed by this card. I also don't really want to keep my fairies there, but I also have seen some good players play with it. So yeah, it's not high on my radar. I give it a C minus D. If I have it and I'm in air, sure, I'll play with it, but I don't think I ever use it once.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever activated it either, and I've even had like a bunch of fairies. It says allied fairy, so they can't activate this, right? Only your units?
No.
Okay. I think I used to think that it was either side, and I would just not put this in my deck if I only had like 1 fairy, but I guess it is just always upside. Okay, Lookout is next. This is in Ordinary Sight, provides air threshold. Genesis, look at each opponent's hand. So I think the more skilled you are, the better that this card gets. Yeah, just knowing your opponent's hand and being able to play around some of their removal. Like, removal in this game is so location based, and being able to play around it means that you're just not going to get 2 for 1 when you otherwise would get 2 for 1. And if that's the case, you already got a card worth out of this, which is insane, honestly. Like, to play a site that has air threshold that gives you a card worth of advantage is pretty nuts. So I give this a B minus.
Yeah, Lookout is such a sneaky card. It looks so innocent, but it's also very easy to get your hands on 1 of 2 of these cards. So if you're in air and you can see your opponent's hand 2 times, that is just crazy. Like, knowing that he has a fire breathing in hand, knowing that he has a lava flow, or that he has a Pendragon banner, that really kills the whole card. I mean, if you know it, then you see it coming. So I B minus is a bit high, I think, because there are really a lot of good sites. So I'm more at C plus level, but sure, the effect is amazing. And perhaps a little pro tip, beginner players tend to start the game with Outlook. Just wait till turn 3 to cast your Outlook, because not much is happening in the very first and second turn. And then basically you see 2 extra cards, which really can make that difference.
Yeah, that's a great pointer. Yeah, you kind of are just on autopilot like the first 3 turns of the game, and then it gets interesting. So yeah, that's a good point.
And then we come to the last air site, which is a treetop hideout. It's an ordinary site with a Genesis ability. You may give stealth to a nearby allied minion. I am a big fan of stealth, and just giving stealth for free is just not fair. Often this hits on turn 4, giving a 3-part minion stealth before or after the effect, or after the attack, and then you actually play a 4-part minion. So I think Treetop Hideout is one of the best sites there is, because it really has a big impact on the minions and the board state. So I cannot give it a B minus, although it is free stealth is on that level. So I give it for a very high C plus.
Okay, yeah, I bet it's C plus as well. Okay, then we have some sites that don't have any threshold. So the first one is Annual Fair. It's an exceptional site, and it doesn't provide threshold on its own, but you can pay 1 to gain any threshold. So you can pay 2 mana, and then now you have 2 water threshold, but you don't have mana after that. You know, like it doesn't filter mana. It's mana at the cost of, or it's threshold at the cost of mana. But this card is excellent for splashing. I'll play one of these anytime that I'm playing 3 elements. I probably won't play it at all if I'm playing 2 elements. I could see that actually being right, but yeah, I think I don't play this if it's 2 elements. Yeah, I'm not playing 4 elements, I think, even if I have this. I think you said that last week, but yeah, very important card to the format. I think picking 1 up is very important for a lot of decks, because you're going to be playing 3 elements a lot of the time. So I give it a C plus.
Yeah, I agree. Another fair is really good if you play multi elements. Going 4 is a bit crazy, but if you have two of these, it's really doable. Um, yeah, it just also unlocks all the crazy search that you have with all the different elements. And actually, if you need that fourth element, there is a way there. So yeah, I think NL Fair is actually a very good card. So C plus is good workaround if you're in 3 elements.
Yeah, I had 2 of these in a deck, and I was playing 3 elements, and it felt really bad to have 2. Actually, like I drew both of them like every game though, so it just felt especially bad. But yeah, I love playing one of
because
these.
the cost is there, of course. It is really like it helps you get there where otherwise perhaps you are in trouble. But yeah, the one extra mana actually also hurts you. But still, in Magic, it was worse, I think. In Sorcery, you can get away with it, like the one extra. But of course, if all your spells becomes one more expensive, that is not how you will win the game. Then we come to Hamlet, which is a site, ordinary site, where it says ordinary minions cost 1 less to cost it to the site. It was actually brought to my attention of one of my very good friends, who actually starting playing with it, 2 in his deck. This is the other way around. This you really have to put in your 2-color deck. And then you have to count how many ordinary minions you have, which is often a lot. And having a Hamlet on 13 and being able to cost 2 minions on turn 2 is actually quite strong. So it is really built towards Hamlet, but way stronger. So in the beginning, I thought it was just a bad card, but it really lets you go very fast. So in the right deck, this is a C+.
Okay, yeah, I have it as F, and yeah, I could imagine a world where I have just like 15 ordinary minions, and I'm only in 2 elements, and you can play it on 13. But I feel like that's just so unlikely to be the case. Like, the positioning is going to be awkward a lot because it's not just going to be right where you want to play all your minions, and like the mana discount I don't think is really like that significant to like mess with your threshold to play this. So I'm probably just not playing it.
Can I ask, did you ever play with this?
No, I have not.
Honestly, once you start playing with it and build your deck, like it really costs your Lumbering Giant on for 3 mana. So it is really not to be underestimated. So I could advise you just play around with it, and you will be surprised in an aggro fire something deck. Yeah, okay. So it's really better than it looks.
Yeah, but we should say for the new player, this is not the card that you think it is. Like, this is not just gonna like turbo out a bunch of your cards. Like, it's gonna mess with your threshold. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, I don't think you should play with Hamlet. Like, you really do need to build around it, and you need to know what you're doing.
Okay.
Is Leyline mine? Leyline Henge. It's an ordinary site, and it says Genesis, draw a spell for each other adjacent Leyline Henge. So you can pretty much only ever draw 1 spell off of this. So just so you know, if you do like an L shape, then it's like, okay, you play this, you don't draw a card. You play this one, you draw 1 card. You play one next to that. It only sees the one that it's adjacent to still. So you still only draw 1 card off of it. So, I mean, a site that draws a card sounds really good, but you have to play a minimum of 2 to even get the card. And then at that point, like, you've 0 threshold. Yeah, I think this card's just an F. Like, there's this dream where you can play with like the common cottagers and the fisherman families and all these things to fix your threshold and then play a bunch of these. But like, I just don't think that that's really a dream worth building towards.
That's very funny that you mentioned this, because that is actually what happened to me in my very first Arthurian Legends draft. And the whole draft was won by that deck. Somebody who had 7 Leyline Henges in their deck with all the families, etc. And you know who that guy was? It was our number 1 Eric himself. I was fortunate enough to play him in the drafts, and this is the deck that he built, and he completely slaughtered all of us. And then he said, like, yeah, for people who do not know the format very well, this is a bit broken. So it was very funny because you stopped actually where it really got good. If you then play your fourth Leyland Henge, you actually draw 2 cards, and then you have drawn 4 cards. But overall, yeah, I tried to make it work, and I was partly successful. But now with the speed and the brutalness of the game, it's like, don't go there. It really doesn't work. But so it's actually a funny card.
That's funny. Yeah, this is like an early format dream. Like if you ever are in a pod with 8 people who've never drafted this before, like maybe you can make it work. But
yeah, that was exactly what happened. Eric joined the draft because it was the first draft on the day on Spiel Essen, and that's what he did. And so it's very funny because there was a foil coming by, which I took, and he was looking at me, and I was like, why are you looking at me? But it's just because I took one of his ley line hinges. Anyway, Tournament Grounds. It's an exceptional site which says anyone may cast knights, sirs, or dames to the site and may do so for no threshold. So I like this card thematically. I love the art. I think it's amazing, and actually I always want to play with it. But the fact that I have so many crazy sirs, it doesn't really happen that. So it never happens. So basically, I never put it in a deck once. My opponent had it, and I was able to cast my knight, which I was stuck on, and it won me the game. So it's just a complete D or F. Never play with that card.
yeah, I have it as F as well. Like, so if you're like fire water and you have like a Sir Galahad or something that's just like totally uncastable, like, do you put one of these in and then hope to draw both of them? Like, there's no way, right? Like,
no.
There's no way for this to fit in a deck and have your threshold still be okay and for it to make sense. Like, you'd have to get like 4 sirs that like you can't cast otherwise, and then you can put 2 of these in your deck. But even then, like, you're helping your opponent's threshold too when you do that. So yeah, I think it's enough. Town is next, so it has the same text as Hamlet, except it's for exceptional minions. So exceptional minions cost 1 less to cast to this site. On average, you're going to have, like 4 exceptional minions or something in your deck. So, yeah, this card is just a straight F. There's no way you're ever going to have enough exceptionals to play this.
100%. So that's a big difference there. For Ordinaries minions, it could be that you have like 10, 11 Ordinary minions in your deck, and that really has the effect, but that will never happen with Exceptional. Of course, in Constructed, it sees play turn 2 with Submarine Giantess, etc. But in Limited, never going to have a straight F.
Okay, that is the last card that we had to review for this week. There were some doozies in there, not too much controversy. I think we agreed on a lot of the cards, but it'll be a lot more interesting when we do Gothic, and we've never played with the cards before, and we have to grade all of them. So I look forward to that. Our next video is going to be us rating every elite and unique in the set, so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, also like comments on our scoring if you disagree or don't agree. Shout out in the comments. We'd love to read your thoughts about it. Interesting to see that actually we only had like 2 A cards, which were the Sea Giant and the Lava Flow, both in fire. So that also is why we say that fire can be deep or so strong. But it was great fun doing this. So happy to do the next round.
I missed my opportunity. I should have said subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss next week's video. I don't think I've ever said subscribe to this channel on this YouTube channel, so you should definitely do that. Nick is very gracious to be on my channel doing this content. He really knows what's going on. I still feel like a beginner compared to Nick, but yeah, we're bringing you all the information that you can get on limited play. So subscribe. All right. Yeah, so with that, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks, Nick.
See you next time.